for Dr. Ben. My hotel. Miracle. AKA Almozi.
All the lies you've been told, baby, let me set you straight. What we did back then was great. You just don't know. Let me show you the past so your future can look bright. Help you walk into the light. Help you see yourself. I've heard them say that we wasn't even there. Baby, let me make this clear. We were the ones. If you pay attention to what I'm about to show, there's no doubt that you will know. We were the ones. And I'ma show you. Nefertari said she was black because that's the way that my man. I'ma show you. Egypt was a black land and King Tut was a black man. Cause that's the way that my man. And now, since we came from the southern land, so I know they think that we forgot. Remember the time from the horn and the west. These black people made their way. See them coming for Friday, and here we are. As above, so below. This is how they built in stone. We have never been alone. This is the truth. If you can't see yourself, then it's true you've been misled. Got them lies all in your head. Let me help you, and I'ma show you. Nefertari said she was black because that's the way that my man. I'ma show you. Egypt was a black man, King Tut was a black man. Cause that's the way that my man. I'ma show you our history. It ain't no mystery. Just listen and you'll understand and show you what they cannot hide, what they can't deny. That Egypt was a black land. Lately I've been thinking of days gone by, and all the things that we forgot. Voices from the distant past make themselves heard. Resurrecting something now that you've been revealed. Tell me what you gonna do. Gonna keep it to yourself or gonna tell the world? If you do, then prepare for the challenges you face. My heart goes out to you, precious black boys and girls. And I'ma show you. Nefertari said she was black because that's the way that my man. I'ma show you. Egypt was a black man, King Tut was a black man. Cause that's the way that my man. I'ma show you our history. It ain't no mystery. Just listen and you'll understand and show you what they cannot hide, what they can't deny. That Egypt was a black man. Egypt was a black man. Egypt was a black man. Egypt was a black man.
Look, when we first sent the email, reply was all crickets. 3-man weed, tell my mans book the tickets. Book 'em from the sideline, y'all gon' have to look and listen. While y'all business on the book, we tryna sell a book of business. Playing with your mind, yeah, the logo looks suspicious. AI technology, surviving through the glitches. My first flip was 3,000 and all 50s. Couple sticks and stems, but buzz was all sticky. Now we're building corporations, do it no hesitation. It's triple force, get on board with my rotation. All Genesis, they thinking it's Revelations. This all first verse, my pen ain't no location. All leading up to try media innovations. Revenue streams, residual situations. Revenue stream, not rivers, so be patient. My cash flow quadrants, margins so spacious. Kush covers on the market, you can taste it. My ebook hit the web, you can't erase it. When my voice hit the track, it's a wavement. I'm somewhere shopping, buying jewelry out in cases. I attract money, baby, I don't chase it. And I don't slap honeys, baby, I replace them. It's integration if you want that conversation. Handshake, grip it tight like I'm a Mason.
and the
Check.
Watching around the world.
Pull up the seat and pull out your shot glass. Hard never is for the podcast. Try media for the broadcast. Straight up balling out on they fraud ass. The coalition of bitches, they talk trash. On the mission to fit in your soft ass. Rolling green and clubbing this golf class. Loaded lust couldn't say they lost ass. The capital community streets is all sad. Niggas be thinking the heat they all last. Be conscious of all the sand in the hourglass. Be humble when be prepared when the power pass. Old and young niggas, we all class. Ideology different, we move the ball fast. Yeah, these chickens is out of season, we haul ass. There's a reason we undefeated, it's all fast. Pull up the seat, pull out a shot glass. Hard nigga is for the podcast. Try media for the broadcast. Straight up balling out on they fraud ass. Pull up the seat, pull out a shot glass. Hard nigga is for the podcast. Try media for the broadcast. Straight up balling out on they fraud ass. Let's go.
I'm King Jaffe Joffer, ruler of Zamunda.
Yeah, we'll have a seat. And number 2 be ready in a second.
This is beautiful. What is that? Velvet? Velvet?
Time for a spray, it's a good kush. From the front door, they can smell me, yeah. Looking like a king when I walk in. Motherfuckers thinking that it's velvet, DQ on this spin straight facts. Feeling like Mickey when you tell me, yeah. Been there, pimpin', baby, done that. Ain't fine, she keep trying to sell me, Look at God, see the spotlight on me, so they looking hard. See on gold, melted butter, baby, what a toast. When a nigga start to flow, I just let the low. See, I always been a nerd, plus a cool kid. Never gave a damn what the dudes did. See, I always observe with my words that you birds with my nerves, so I swerve on that bullshit. Catch a nigga smoking herb in the pulpit. Wanna learn, you can earn in the school, baby. Syllabus, go ahead and keep cool, baby. Van Twiller quiz, make the pussy lips move, baby. Country proud, intellectual intelligence. Verified header splitter in my element. See, we minimize niggas that's irrelevant. Nigga want the bells by Manana, we gon' mail them in. Let's go. Time for a spray, it's a good kush. From the front door, they can smell me, yeah. Looking like a king when I walk in. Motherfuckers thinking that it's velvet, DQ on this spin straight facts. Feeling like Mickey when you tell me, yeah. Been there, pimpin', baby, done that. Ain't fine, she keep trying to sell me, Time for a spray, it's a good kush. From the front door, they can smell me, yeah. Looking like a king when I walk in. Motherfuckers thinking that it's velvet, DQ on this spin straight facts. Feeling like Mickey when you tell me, yeah. Been there, pimpin', baby, done that. Ain't fine, she keep trying to sell me,
Came in the game through the black out. Smelling like a whole lot of cat flour. So many bottles of cologne in the crib, nigga, when it started, I'm a rap show. And you better know it ain't cap though. Rich millionaire like Castro. Put it in the air if you stacked out. Who the best nigga with the flair? Better pick the nigga hair like an afro. Smelling like cold 7-8 or the Cartier mixed with the bird. Baby shit to make your girl wanna faint. Don Julio shots. Serve every drink, then we leave in the porch with the pearl color paint. Shorty so drunk that she asked if it's white. Said little mama just crashed for the night. I tell you in the morning, just know that Maggie wouldn't like how the color of the flash in the light.
Time for a spray, it's a good kush. From the front door, they can smell me, yeah. Looking like a king when I walk in. Motherfuckers thinking that it's velvet, DQ on this spin straight facts. Feeling like Mickey when you tell me, yeah. Been there, pimpin', baby, done that. Ain't fine, she keep trying to sell me, Time for a spray, it's a good kush. From the front door, they can smell me, yeah. Looking like a king when I walk in. Motherfuckers thinking that it's velvet, DQ on this spin straight facts. Feeling like Mickey when you tell me, yeah. Been there, pimpin', baby, done that. Ain't fine, she keep trying to sell me,
But they not like me, but they not like me, may do a little something, but they not like me. See, I got the hit factor, that je ne sais quoi. Instead of trust feature, just improving my stock. Boy, you can like me or not. The universe love me. I'm keeping my balance, my yacht. Smoking an ounce on the yacht. Then I took base with my boss at Miami online. So you're not like me. So you're not like me. May do a little something, but it's not like me. See, I got the hit factor. Je ne sais quoi. May do a little something, but it ain't like more. So you're not like me. So you're not like me. May do a little something, but it's not like me. See, I got the hit factor. Je ne sais quoi. May do a little something, but it ain't like more. Waco, Texas, spitting type of shit. Murder word bending on the bitch. Managerial business with the fit. 40 Smith and Weston for the blick. Would've made a saucy little crib, but this rabbit run in my blood. Raising cane, some saucy with the drip. Them boys can't even compare to who I was. Like a bee, I'm known to make it buzz. Smoke some weed and pollinate the club. Lay back and chill and roll some bud. Group of bitches come and spin the dub. Leaving out that hoe, then more than I came with me. Let's wave me. My feet don't touch the floor. This straight levitation on that pavement. See, they're not like me. They may do a little something, but it's not like me. See, I got the hit factor. That je ne sais quoi. They may do a little something, but it ain't like one. See, they're not like me. See, they're not like me. They may do a little something, but it's not like me. See, I got the hit factor. That je ne sais quoi. May do a little something, but it ain't like one.
And I'm gonna tell you something, this pimping that I got in my blood, it came from a family tree. My granddaddy was a pimp. My great-great-great-granddaddy was a pimp. I'm talking about pimping, been since pimping, since been pimping, since been pimping.
Hey. Let's go. Saturday morning now, I'm yawning, brushing my teeth. Cooking me something, pouring coffee, rolling the leaf. Hand sheaf, rising the gram, make it complete. Yeah, I fell asleep. My slim, thick and petite, tight free that I met at dispensary last week. No, I beat, hands all in the ass cheek. Can't find a chick in this world I can't seek. When they hide, I provide the dick in the back seat. When I glide 35, a cussing the bag heat. Falling on these niggas, they checking the stash sheets. All with my niggas, I'm jamming some Max B. Headed back to Texas, I'm getting the tax free. Actually, chick wanna massage and relax me. Mind, soul, and wrist and that chi. All in one in the pot, throw some shrooms in that tea. And tell me how you feel, baby. Gonna keep it real, baby. Ooh. Tryna dive in it, yeah. Easy, I go and get it. Hit him with the gavel shit, I might hit a co-defendant. Niggas is so relentless, I pass the blunt underhanded. More with the tabletop, the shit that I took for granted. No for supplanting this pimping, all in the hippocampus. Know they gon' spell the branches, soon as I leave the campus. Shout out to my sister, yeah, she cheerleading for the Panthers. Invite me to all the parties, these bitches be throwing panties. Sharing red 11s on my feet, I was coming handy. The blunt is like a pinata, you know that it's filled with candy. Carter get probably sorry, the color with dirty salmon, I'm from the dirty. I know they heard me, they understand it, it's overstated. When we pass the green, it be all organic, it's automatic. When we locking eyes, it gets so romantic. So take a stroll and get the hell up out of here. And tell me how you feel, baby, gonna keep it real, baby. Ooh. Talk to me, girl. I can handle it, I swear. How deep is it? I wanna sleep in it. My haters gonna know this one.
Trey Media Records.
Check. Look, with precision is a bantamweights hitting the heavy bag. Eating that core thick, internet never lag. Yeah, niggas is hella mad, whooping whoever ass. Nigga betting whatever bag, send me your gamer tag. Higher than hella pads. Niggas is willy-nilly, we flipping they lily pads. Poppy gon' slip the jab. Uppercuts are heavy suffering like a succotash. Hits to your lips can't fit in the COVID mask. Now I'm just whipping ass. Slow roll a nigga, then I stretch him like yoga class. Rope a dope a nigga shelled up like shoulder pads. And hit him with overhands. Yeah, it's over 10. The count is over 10. The crowd is going in. Your record is over 10. Yeah, let's go again. No time for violins, just virtual violins. Gaming this my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. Little homie, I'm dialed in. Gaming this my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. Little homie, I'm dialed in. Gaming this my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. Little homie, I'm dialed in. Gaming this my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. Little homie, I'm dialed in. Gaming is my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. If it's an issue, take the 2-piece fries with you. My hands is registered, ain't no need for my pistol. Leave your outline and white line, white stencil. Cause I'm number one, you just a number two, bright pencil. Now choose the gaming system. Head movement is why you're losing. Yeah, yeah. Gotta bob and weave, cause illusions. Yeah, yeah. Arms up my sleeve, cause contusions. Yeah, yeah. Cuts and some webs and some bruises. Band to the heavyweights, these niggas is Debbie cakes. I hope you got steady hands, gon' leave with a heavy face. Sold out the place, your shoulder out of place. So I switched to southpaw, control the range of pace. Now I got you right where I want it, let's get it cracking. Got this nigga going out in circles, cover-sacking. Couple more taps to the jaw, he going at it. Straight up flow action. Yeah, yeah. Little homie, I'm dialed in. Gaming is my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. Little homie, I'm dialed in. Gaming is my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. Little homie, I'm dialed in. Gaming is my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. Little homie, I'm dialed in. Gaming is my calling, little homie, I'm dialed in. Undisputable bars. I be on that beast mode. Breaking my own record. I said what? I'm busting your ass. Competition got so garbage, it got easy. I be blocking it. Breaking my own record. My nigga put the game on.
Shout out to my brother DQ. Shout out to my brother Hits. Y'all don't know that was actually that's actually a track they made. I didn't even know that was y'all and Hits. Shout out to Hits.
Yes, sir. That's me and his man.
I thought he could only make them Motown beats and shit. I thought he was gonna make some Motown production. That motherfucker. I know you wanna leave me. Looking at it. I didn't know he could come that forward. Pause. So shouts to him. I kind of like that.
The architect, baby.
Yeah, I kind of like that. That was shouts to him. What up? This is gonna be a quick show for shit show. I'm not really trying to get involved in all of this back and forth dumbass shit. I just want to give my take on it, and then kind of hear from the people, because we keep hearing from all of the people that have channels that have thoughts on it, but I'm wondering where the people stand with this conversation. But shouts to you, DQ, while I'm getting myself together. Shouts to Truist. Definitely come on up and present some ideas. I know Chef wanted to say a couple things. Shouts to the chat in the building. Vyasa, always loyal, man. We really appreciate you. Said Breeze, Jay-Z head nod. Yeah, that Shaka almost flipped. But I actually like that song, bro. That's the crazy part. Real. I actually like the song. I'm not a fan of the person, but that particular song, the way y'all flipped that, I could dig it. Shout to Said, always supportive. Get the likes up. Egg Beats, met that brother yesterday. He joined the Discord from Northern California. Got a good vibe to him. Said one of the most gangster lines in the history of the world about a straw man yesterday. Him and Truist was arguing in the Discord yesterday about straw man. And then what did he say, DQ, to Truist?
Truist is like, nah, that's a straw man. That nigga said your mama is straw man. I said, God damn, bro, these niggas tripping out here.
Bro, and that was his first day in the Discord. So apparently he already sick of motherfuckers already. So, but nah, shouts to him to have the heart to leave the chat, right? He watches all the shows. But to have the heart to leave the chat, join the Discord, and have a conversation, I can appreciate that. So shouts to him. Shouts to Chef always. Mika in the building. Psycho in the building. Decent bars. He said, "Oh my bad, backfire." Shouts to you.
Yes, my man, Psycho. Shout out Psycho.
Yep. Shouts to Chef. Chef, if you want me to text you the link, I can text it to you. Shout to my brother Logic TMI, Hits TMI, DQ TMI. Congratulations to would be in order for Hits. I don't think we actually did a live since, but we recently passed over 1 million views for our channel. Kind of reworked things a little bit. I think that working hard, going 7-8 hours, talking about whatever and how we feel or our thoughts. While that is entertaining, is kind of like it doesn't make sense per man hour. So crossing 1 million views in less than a year, shouts to Hit. That's mainly, I mean, it's all of us, obviously, we form like Voltron, but Hits handles a lot of our shorts. He handles a lot of our media work and how things get, for all that back office shit I really don't care about. I mainly run the shows. Shouts to Carnivorous Podcast. We do a lot of good work for them and with them. We do a lot of the Discord conversations. We move them over there just to keep the energy going on that particular channel while Chef is building up his other 2 channels with the monologues and original content. So shouts to that. I mean, there's a lot of shout outs in order. Let's see, shout to Logic. That's a personal thing. A lot of major personal success. Shout to DQ, got a new album. Yeah, got a new album. Shout to my brother Corey, always building America. And then we're also looking for new stars. Our goal, even my name in the Discord is a kingmaker named Brass. It might sound like I like being live and talking. I really don't. We're actually looking for people that really do. I think we got some stars to kind of change the narrative. And before we get started on the show, it's going to be, this is not like a normal Discord show. You're going to be able to hit the link. You're going to be able to come in and drop sources. But after we present our ideas, I want to hear from the people. And then I want to kind of give just some commentary on something. It may be taken as a diss, it may not be, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna let y'all talk while I get my stuff together. And go ahead, DQ, talk a little bit about the album. I think we should do that music you heard was DQ's newest EP. Go out and check it out. The link is in the chat. It's $10. Support the brother. Don't just talk. Actually put your money where your mouth is. And then we'll go there. So go ahead, DQ, and then we're gonna get started. Truist, get your links and stuff together, and then we're gonna go forward.
Yeah. Salute to everybody. Yeah. Hope everybody doing good today. About to have a nice little talk. I definitely did just release a new EP, little something for my fans, people in the Discord. It's $10. Ain't nothing but just support. Click. You can pay whatever. But I do appreciate the love. But yeah, man, we keeping it going, keeping it rolling. Shout out to everybody in the chat. It's gonna be a real nice one. Miss Mika in the building, I see you. Yeah, we about to get it popping, get it going. Let me see who all on the panel, baby. Y'all go ahead and speak your name. Say something for a player. Let me see. We got Truist in the building. We got Stu Peas.
Yeah, I'm here to be an observer to the truth because the truth sometimes need witnesses. We don't have to speak. We just have to witness the truth. That we know that it has been said and it has been publicly said that people cannot deny that they didn't hear it. Right? So I'm here as a witness to the truth. Because that's all we have as Black people. Most of us don't have any resources, but we have the truth. I will going to spread it like a wildfire.
Let's get it going. Let's get it
Yeah, I
going. I
like
like.
that. Go ahead, Truce. He might. I know he said he was doing a little bit of running around. Um, Truce, cut me off if need be. I need to. I need to kind of start this in a different way, right? So one of the things I've always had a bit of a concern with. What? True, is your mic working now? 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
There we
Talk a
go.
little bit about so talk a little bit about your square before we get started. Then I'm gonna introduce the show. Then we'll get this going. And Chef, once again, let me know if you want me to text you the link to your phone or and this is a people show, so we're gonna do a short presentation and open it up to the platform because I like to hear the ideas, the people that agree with what Chef was saying, or the people that agree with the counter argument.
Sound keep going out.
We can hear you though. Yo, press a 1 if y'all can still hear me. Press 1 if you can still hear me. Press A1 if you can still hear me. If you can't hear me, then this will be all for naught. Okay, you can still hear me. So I think they're having audio issues. Your boy might actually be dolo today, but that's usually how things go. It's all good.
I can hear you for brief periods of time, but then the sound goes out eventually. I hate StreamYard. I'm on my cell phone, but
Okay, go ahead and talk though. Talk while you got it. What's up,
yeah.
Ricardo?
Yeah, no, pretty much I have a bunch of sources to back up what I'm saying. If anyone want to jump out the window, but when we keep throwing natural philosopher or philosophy or naturalist as a term on somebody to try to somehow disqualify them from being a scientist, uh, this is due to ignorance of the fact that these are broad categorical terms that people that would be classified as scientists today fell into. And then there are people that would not be called scientists that fell into that category. So the only way to distinguish between the two would be to look at the methods, practices, and work of the individual that you are just labeling a naturalist or a natural philosopher. Examine that and then determine if they would fit the qualifications of what we would call a scientist even today. And it is very, very apparent that despite being able to call Darwin a naturalist, he would qualify as a scientist. Despite calling Newton a natural philosopher, he would qualify as a scientist. And despite neurosurgery being Dr. Ben Carson's primary function and job and work, he still absolutely is considered a member of the scientific community and a scientist. And we can get into all of that as soon as I figure out my issues with StreamYard.
Okay, no problem. Or you can put the links in the Discord, or you could put them in this back chat, and I can pull the links up for you if you're having an issue with that. But y'all got to let me know y'all can hear me because apparently the audio on StreamYard keeps going out. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Go ahead, Chef. Talk to the people. I know you said you wanted to talk for a minute. Go ahead. Take your time. I'm still putting together a couple of things, preparing for this. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, I'm waiting to see what y'all got. You dig what I'm saying? But I know it's gonna be along the same line that I'm actually coming from because we're not trying to exclude people in the conversation. It seems like the other
If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Y'all can't hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Your connection's going in and out.
Oh, so it's crazy on the phone. My phone can't like go on sleep. If it
Oh,
do,
okay.
then I guess that's
Okay.
what's happening. So true,
Okay.
that's what might be what's happening. You got to keep tapping your phone to make sure it don't go on sleep. You dig what I'm saying? That
Okay.
screen
Oh, okay.
gotta remain live. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah. So I think so. Let me restate it. So,
Okay.
sister, what you looking for? Sister, what you looking for? Excuse, sister, what you looking for? Okay, my bad, y'all.
No,
Um,
take your time. It's real life.
they be looking so confused and shit. So, um, yeah. So my bad. I think that our conversation will end up closer towards each other's stances because we're using a method to include as much people as possible, and I think they're using my fucking phone died again. They're using a method to exclude as many people as possible, right?
Mhm.
So with Dr. Ben Carson, um, they keep saying he's not a scientist because they're trying to relegate him to a lab scientist. What I think that's called a bench scientist. BENCH. No, he's not a bench scientist, right? He's what you call a clinical scientist. So now, is a clinical scientist still a scientist? Yes, he is. But his scientific endeavor has more to do with patient care. Um how to incorporate um the lab theory into practicality. You dig what I'm saying? With patients, right? Um Developing new tools and procedures. You dig what I'm saying? To push the field forward, right? All of this that he's doing, it's crazy that these guys will sit here and say he's not a scientist, right? So if you would just look up, they keep asking me to look, they say their chat GPT don't say that he's a scientist. You dig what I'm saying? Because ChatGPT goes off of prompts, right? Maybe y'all not asking the correct question. Maybe you don't know what questions to ask to get a proper answer. Have y'all ever thought about that? You could get to a point where you don't even know what questions you need to ask to get the best answer, right? So that's the only thing that they're showing right there is they don't belong in the conversation. Maybe they should shut up. You dig what I'm saying? Because they don't even know what questions to ask in the conversation. And I think that's more problematic than anything. It's look like I'm up here by myself. I think everybody gone but me. They didn't.
No, we can hear you. I gave you the main
Oh,
stage, nigga. You
oh,
go.
okay. All
Yeah, I just
right.
gave you the main stage. Just go. We here.
Yeah.
I'm just
So
not interrupting you.
yeah. So Dr. Ben is a clinical scientist, right? Not a bench scientist. He clearly uh falls into the category of a clinical scientist. Now, for some reason, they're going to try to tell us that that's not a real scientist. I'm not arguing past that point. I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing what type of scientist he is. Only thing I said was Dr. Ben was a scientist. Now, what type of scientist he is, or whether that qualifies to y'all as being a scientist, maybe y'all got it. Matter of fact, I don't even know what y'all mean by scientist, right? So that might be an issue. Maybe y'all need to clear that up a little bit. And another thing, last night on the show, I had mentioned if Sid Breeze is in here, I went back and read the comments, and Sid said something about Hypatia not being alive during the period that the Library of Alexandria was open. And said, Breeze, you was completely wrong. You know what I mean? I just couldn't check my sources because I was freestyling. But Hypatia was one of the master teachers and researchers at the Library of Alexandria when it was closed down. So she was one of the last scholars to actually do research and teach in the Library of Alexandria. So yeah, you need to fix that up a little bit. So yeah, I want to see what y'all got. I think I got my bars off last. I think I got my bars off last night.
Okay, no problem. No problem at
Yeah.
all. Truist,
I'm
just give me a
almost ready. I'm about to try and
no.
get
Take your
on it.
time. I want
Yeah.
to I just want to make a quick monologue, right? And it's gonna sound I'm gonna just throw out my honesty, right? It's why I don't do a lot of personal shows, because when I throw out my honesty, it ends up seeming like it's disrespect, and because I really don't care how people take necessarily what I'm saying, right? So, in my opinion, I wouldn't want to be in this particular community. I don't think everything that the pseudo killers get blamed for is their fault. And you'll understand how I'm trying to not make it about them by the end of this. I'm gonna try to keep it as quick as possible. I think a lot of times, every time a scientific argument comes up, like the amount of anger and vitriol they get in conversations, sometimes I would even say it's unfair to them, because they've almost taken on this job or like this position of being the arbiters of science. And I don't even think that that's what they are trying to do, right? Being in that Discord for a while, talking to those people, talking to all of them, but some of them personally, right? I don't think that that was actually like they're going to be the Justice League of some kind, right? So every time, from what I'm noticing, every time a scientific conversation comes up, every time some kind of topic comes up in and around science, it always ends up being, well, what do the pseudo killers think? Right? And it don't even necessarily come from them. Now, sometimes they'll jump out there and say, this, that, and the third or whatever, do the PK thing, right? Shouts to them, by the way. And then it becomes, well, every scientific conversation, you're basing it off as though what I would call like they're the arbiters of science or the arbiters of truth or this, that, and the other. I've heard them on different times say they're enthusiasts. I've heard them say on different times that they're advocates. I never heard them say that they were scientists themselves. I know I've heard them say that they weren't experts themselves, right? So in this conversation, right, I've been trying to follow it. Reggie been on a lot of the shows. And the thing that was tripping me out when Reggie was talking is I was almost kind of saying like, well, why are you, and I said this to him, why are you so caught up in trying to prove your point to them? Like, if they got a stance, that's their stance, and you got a stance, that's your stance. Now, I get the fight in between, but then the frustration part is what I don't understand, because they're not like the Supreme Court, right? It doesn't be all or end all with them. And that's the kind of the sentiment I was getting from Chef last night when he was doing the show. Is his that came out that's stupid and this, that, and the other. And to each his own. Everybody got a different fighting style. But for me, I don't even think they asked for the job that they've been given. I don't think it makes sense to run your scientific ideas past them, because I don't even think that that's what they do. I think they like talking about science. I think they're enthusiastic about science. I think I don't really understand the advocacy part all the time, but a lot of this just ends up in arguments, right? So then it kind of led me to my own thought. And once again, shouts to them. If y'all take that as disrespect, that's on y'all. But what happens is or if any of y'all try to make it like it's disrespect, it's not disrespect. It's a respect to them. Because I think I'm not presenting this particular argument to them, right? I'm presenting this argument for people to understand, because for me, I want to see where the people sit in the conversation. We can have arguments and conversations all day long, right? Debates all day long, but if the people are pretty much set or stuck, then we present our information and move on to the next thing. So then it led me to, Chef, during your monologue, about, how can I say this? Are we so caught up in being technically right that we're not being intellectually honest? So when we have these conversations, I think people think science is about somehow being right all the time, but I don't even, in my opinion, my humble opinion, right? I don't think that that's all science is. I think somewhere along the way, we started confusing being correct with being honest. So when you spend years arguing against misinformation and years correcting people's bad history and or bad science or bad logic, people start looking at you like you the authority on it, right? But even them, to their credit, I remember in the Black Egypt conversation, they would make sure they would go get experts, right, to go and say what it is. And I think right now people, they didn't inherit a responsibility. They've been kind of thrust a responsibility on them. So I just want to get that out the way. If it is offensive to say that they're not the arbiters of truth or science or who's a scientist or what's a scientist, whatever they're saying, right? If their chat GPT says one thing, and I brought hits up, we're going to get into that conversation too. Their chat GPT is not more intelligent than your chat GPT. Chat GPT is just a tool. So if their chat GPT says one thing, Hit says one thing, Chef says one thing, it hallucinates, but it's a tool. It's not the final say on anything. Now you can get the custom GPTs, but even in the custom GPTs, it's more of a conversational thing. That's how I was taught. It's not like Encyclopedia Britannica or nothing like that. So what I want to cover on this show is exactly what the thumbnail is saying. And then my goal, I want to discuss, by the end of the show, I want it to be clear that you could be a natural philosopher and a scientist. I want it to be clear about how ChatGPT actually works. So when you start saying things like my ChatGPT is more intelligent than yours, maybe you'll at least consider what I'm saying and maybe just rethink it a little bit. I want to talk about the Eurocentrism aspect and the scientific racism aspect a little bit. And then I want to get into Newton and Carson and other topics. I'm not doing my shows to be disrespectful, and I'm not doing my shows to play tennis. Where I do a show, you do a show, you disrespect me, I disrespect you. I want to start off with respect and my information. If you want to go do that, fine, but you probably won't get a response. Not in a disrespectful way, because that kind of stuff, the only people that get hurt when the disrespect starts getting flung around is, I think the people get disrespected and the people lose when we start with the your mothers, the this, the that, and all of that. Because it's too easy to go that route. So I'm gonna present some information, some visuals, some sources, and I got my brother Truist up here. Truist, you prepared? You ready to go or no? Sosa. He says, just use the Encyclopedia Britannica. It will take only 45 minutes to read the whole thing.
He
I
wants
don't know
me.
if you,
He
I
wants
don't know
me to
if
do
you're
that.
joking or something. I don't know
He
if
wants
you're
me to
joking,
do.
but see, that's kind of like what I mean. I hear all of y'all, right? But I think once again, sometimes y'all ask for it, Sosa, but I think other times people thrust this thing like y'all are the measuring stick. I'm gonna say pause. That was uncomfortable. but somehow I know that that's not what y'all in this for. And I know that that's got to be a heavy responsibility that every scientific conversation in the conscious community somehow got to run through them. So I'm not even talking to them 100%. I'm more talking to the rest of the community. Sometimes y'all need to just have your argument, state your case, and move on. And if they disagree, or if anybody disagrees, then you hear their points, accept it, move forward, so we can have better conversations. Right? Last night, outside of a ceasefire, we had a president that I voted for threatened to wipe an entire civilization off the planet. And somehow I decided I'm gonna wake up and talk about is Newton a scientist or not. See, like some of this stuff gets lost, so I think we can have better conversations. But shouts to them. Truist, are you ready to go? I'm gonna
Yeah, I'm
tackle
ready. I'm
Truist's
ready to
points
go.
first, and before I get into mine, and then I'll drop the link. You will actually be able to join this particular show, but I want to show some visuals and some sources while we're talking.
Can you
So,
hear
Truist,
me?
whenever you're ready. Yes, I can hear you. I can definitely hear you. So, do you have your links ready to go? Share the screen. What do you need?
Yeah, so when I just click recordings right here to share my screen, right?
I think the word is recordings. It's like a little screen or something.
Yeah. No, it says recording hasn't started. I think it's
Okay,
when I click
why
the
don't you
three.
put the link to what you want into the private chat, and I'll pull it up myself.
But I'll do it one by one. So let's start. He said he wanted Britannica. It's funny enough, at least 3 of my sources are from Britannica. So let's
And
start.
on your screen, they're saying if you want to do it yourself, there must be a button somewhere that says click present. But I know you're on your phone, so
I'm on my tablet now, but I'm gonna just post the stuff in the back chat for you.
Okay, post the stuff in the back chat. I'll pull it up. Not in the back chat of this.
Yeah.
Shout out to my brother Hits. Go ahead, brother. The CEO of Tribe Media Innovations. I brought him in to have the conversation about Chat GPT because I noticed that that's going on a lot too. About your Chat GPT is dumb, mine doesn't say this, yours is smart. Let's just get that shit out the way, honestly. Go ahead, Hits. What's going on, brother?
What up? What up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. By the way, I didn't know you made that beat for DQ.
Yeah, I'm nice
So
like that. Nah, I'm joking.
Yeah. I ain't hear no hip. I ain't hear none of that. I heard.
Yeah, don't worry.
All first verse.
Hey, listen. Hold on. Watch this. That's proto beat making.
So let's
that's proto beat making. All right, hold on, Hits. I don't know if you can hear us. Truist, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, all right. Let me pull up your source. But yeah, if you Hits, I don't know if you can hang out. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll be here. Because
after he's done, I'll do the Chat GPT part first.
Okay.
And then that way, if you want to dip out, pause.
Peace to the chat too. Long time.
This is the natural philosophy. Oh, Bob, wouldn't you know it? Britannica.
Encyclopedia Britannica. Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Shouts to you, Mika. Shouts to
I lost
Tony.
you.
Shouts
Hold
to
up.
you, Psycho. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
when y'all lose audio, I like that. When y'all lose audio, just leave and come back.
Yep.
Well, go ahead, brother.
I'm on it.
Go ahead and talk.
So let's start with this natural philosophy word. Let's start there and work our way up to physics, science, and the specific characters we're talking about here. So this is Encyclopedia Britannica, as you can see. And this is dealing with natural philosophy. And you can see from the quick summary here at the top, it says natural philosophy is an older term for natural science, particularly physical science. Historically, figures now consider great scientists. So, key word, figures now consider, meaning at the time, they may have been considered natural philosophers. And even today, they still might call them natural philosophers, but they are also now considered great scientists. Who are some of these characters? Such as Aristotle, Rene Descartes, and Isaac Newton were also renowned natural philosophers. So right there, they are
Can you zoom
recognized.
in on this at all?
I don't have control.
Oh no, I can. My dumb ass. Thank you, bro. I'm definitely not a scientist. Definitely not a scientist. 1 second. Is that better?
Yes, it's much better.
Okay, go ahead.
So again, as I stated maybe 10 to 20 minutes ago, calling someone a natural philosopher or a naturalist in of itself isn't enough to try to throw them away from being a scientist. These are broad categorical terms that are placed on a broad group of people that some would not be considered scientists and some would. The way historians would determine who would fit in as a scientist is by looking at the methods and practices and works of the individual that is being called a naturalist or a natural philosopher. And this is shown here in the very second sentence. Great scientists, also renowned natural philosophers. But let's continue. They not only made significant contributions to scientific understanding, but also reflected on the aims and methods of scientific inquiry. This intertwined history highlights how philosophical thought has shaped the development of scientific disciplines. Now, as you go further down this Britannica piece, it gets into talking about the history of certain individuals. But I just wanted to stop here, kind of lay down what natural philosophy is. And if anyone wanted to make a comment real quick, we can discuss before we move on.
No. This is you. This is your. We
Oh, okay,
listening to you
awesome.
right
All right,
now.
let's move
We
forward.
listening to you. Tell me where you want to go. Post
So
all
now
your links. I'll pull them up.
Awesome. So let's go to the second link I got. I'm gonna drop that now because we're gonna do this one by one.
Yep.
All right. So you can just pull up the second link.
Okay.
And remember, before you pull up the second link, let's reread that first sentence because this is important. It says natural philosophy is an older term for natural science, particularly what? Particularly physical science. What is physical science, everyone? Physics. Pull up the second link, please. Here we are. We are on Encyclopedia Britannica again, since this seems to be everybody's favorite source to use on the matter. We're dealing with physics. All right. Let's scroll down a little bit.
Okay, tell me how far. Right there?
Physics, science that deals with the structure of matter and interactions between the fundamental constitutes of the observable universe. In the broadest sense, physics from the Greek physikos is concerned with all aspects of nature on both the macroscopic and submicroscopic levels. Its scope of study encompasses not only the behavior of objects under the action of given forces, but also the nature and origin of gravitational, electromagnetic, and nuclear fields. Its ultimate objective is the formulation of a few comprehensive principles that bring together and explain all disparate phenomena. Continue going down a little bit further. Okay. Physics is the basic physical science. There goes that word again. Now, here's the kicker. Until rather recent times, Physics and natural philosophy were used interchangeably for the science whose aim is the discovery and formulation of the fundamental laws of nature. As the modern sciences developed and became increasingly specialized, physics came to denote that part of physical science not included in astronomy, chemistry, geology, and engineering. Wait a second. I thought I heard a few people say that science, engineering isn't a part of science. That's a sidebar, though. Physics plays an important role in all the natural sciences. However, and all such fields have branches in which physical laws and measurements receive special emphasis, bearing such names as astrophysics, geophysics, biophysics, and even psychophysics. Physics can at base be defined as the science of matter, motion, and energy. So I just want to stop here because the important part of this is where it says until rather recent times, not recent times, rather recent times, physics and natural philosophy were used interchangeably for the science. For the what? The science. For the what? The science whose aim is the discovery and formulation of the fundamental laws of nature. So now we have an understanding of what natural philosophy is and what physics is. And when we're calling someone a natural philosopher, I hope we understand at this point, before I go any further, how that wouldn't automatically eliminate them from being a scientist or practicing science.
Can you hear us? I don't think you can hear us.
Do we have any comments?
Go out and come back.
Oh, I can't hear anyone. Hold on. Let me come back in.
Yeah. Hits, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I like the way he did that. My question to him is I want to know, is he saying engineering is science? And I wanted them to give some clarity on that. Because I think a lot of times that gets lost in these conversations too. Engineering's role in regards to science. Truist, real quick, based on, let me add him to the stage. Truist, can you hear us now?
Correct. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, every now and then, just leave and come back.
Yeah.
Because you won't know when we're talking or not. So let me ask you a question. Are you saying, or are you not saying engineering is science? Or it is a science? Like, what are you saying in regards to engineering?
It's an applied science.
Okay.
Which makes it a science. And the Britannica article I just pulled displayed that. I mean, it's a science.
Okay.
If anyone, we can see that on a collegiate level. We can see that in the way it's classified. It's a branch of science under the applied sciences.
Okay. Do you want to keep going, or do you want me to move?
Before I go further, and I really hone in on a particular individual, I would like to have some interaction on what we just read.
What you got?
Whoever,
go ahead.
Yeah, whoever, whether it's you or Hits or anyone in the comment section that you would like me to respond to.
Well, yeah, I think they're saying that applied science is not necessarily science. Sosa's going to bring up a whole bunch of shit. So now he wants to know if you understand epistemology. After that, he's going to want the formula for how Artemis got up into space. Do you understand that? Can you recite Newton's theory by heart? Like just once again, and that I hope that whole first monologue don't go over your head, but what in a nutshell, what is your point in saying about the natural philosophy versus being a scientist? Because my argument when it comes to that, I have my own little quick presentation on it. But my argument to that is, and I keep things kind of simple just so I can understand it. If the word possibly didn't exist, or the term necessarily didn't exist, for Newton or Darwin not to be scientists, for them not to be considered scientists, I understand one is a naturalist, I understand one is a natural philosopher, but I'm curious, and this might be an actual question I asked the chat. Can you be both? Like, could
Yes.
you be a natural philosopher and a scientist? Could you
Yes.
be a naturalist and a scientist? So
Yes.
once again, I think a lot of times in these conversations, everybody's talking past each other. So what happens is one side will say, even in our own Discord, this is going on, right? Tony don't agree with none of the shit that we talking about. He ain't even in the Discord no more. But our conversation that we had on science, where we kind of realized that the people that were saying Darwin was a naturalist, or saying that Newton was a natural philosopher, or saying that Dr. Ben Carson was a neurosurgeon, they thought that we were saying, nah, they're not those. They're scientists. In my opinion, I think Dr. Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon. Now, I don't think all neurosurgeons are scientists. I don't think they're all groundbreaking. Some of them punch a clock, do their job, and leave. I don't think they're all scientists. But I think based on Ben Carson, and we'll show it today, Ben Carson and his surgery on the conjoined twins, the tools that he's introduced, the different ideas and research that he's introduced, I think he falls clearly as a neurosurgeon and a scientist. So I don't know if that's playing the fence or playing the middle ground, but for somebody on YouTube, anybody, right? Just so we're clear, I'm not labeling this at any one group or one person. If anybody on YouTube, in our limited understanding of these topics, has the audacity, right, to say Ben Carson is just anything, then I think maybe that's like, you take a look at yourself, right? You take a look at yourself and ask the question, like, based off what he's done, based off what Newton's introduced, based off what Darwin's contributed to the sciences that we have today, I don't understand why you would be trying to be so technically right and just refuse to be intellectually honest. So now it's not a either or, y'all right, we're right, y'all wrong, we're wrong. It's not really that. But it seems like it's a disconnect and a reason to argue. And I don't think every conversation in this particular community has to become Black Egypt. That's where I'll land, right? I think if you're gonna take my argument about Ben Carson as a neurosurgeon also being a scientist, please don't mistake my argument as all neurosurgeons are scientists. I got that word. I think it's a key word in this conversation is distinction. Hit's been saying it the entire time. Hits, if you got something to share, you can cut me off before we move on, because I don't want this show to be very long. Sorry, I've been playing music for 40 minutes, so it seems like we've been here longer than we have. We've been here about 20 minutes talking. But Hits, if you have something you can offer, if not, we can move to the ChatGPT portion.
I got one last thing on this natural philosophy point.
I'm assuming it's from Britannica, right?
Yeah, everything's from
There
Britannica.
you go, listening to Sosa. See, this is what I mean, y'all. Don't make your moves based off some guy in Jersey like me, some guy in Georgia like him. Just do your shit. Put it out there and accept critiques or accept the ability to be right or wrong. But I'll definitely share your.
It's just part of my method. I like to hear what people find acceptable and watch them explain away why it's not acceptable anymore because it doesn't
that
fit
is
their narrative.
interesting. I won't lie to you.
It's interesting to see that happen.
How far you want to start right here?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. So this
All
is
right.
physics and the metaphysics of
Metaphysics of
Aristotle.
Aristotle. Now,
Okay.
disclaimer. I'm not gonna make an argument as to whether Aristotle is or isn't a scientist. It's not what I came up here to do, but that's not why I'm pulling this up, right? I can have that argument if someone wants to have it, but that's not what I'm doing here. Well, I'm reading this to stick on the natural philosophy point we've been making for the past 30 minutes or such. So it says Aristotle divided the theoretical sciences into three groups: physics, mathematics, which I'm going to make an interesting sidebar in a sec about, and theology. Physics, as he understood it, was equivalent to what now be called natural philosophy. But read that one more time. Physics, as he understood it, was equivalent to what would now be called natural philosophy. So again, this is the third source that is letting you know that natural philosophy and physics were interchangeable. These words were interchangeable. Now, today, because of how rigorous and refined and reformed modern science is, right, we draw distinctions. At a point in time, they were interchangeable in meaning. And what you have to do as a responsible person in 2026 is look back at these historical figures and examine their works and their actions and their methods and determine with your thinking brain, with all the knowledge we have today, whether or not what they were doing was scientific, and if we can classify them as a scientist, regardless of whether they were called a naturalist or philosophical what's the word again? A natural philosopher. Sorry, had
Mm-hmm.
a brain fart. Either or. You have to look at their works and then determine from there whether or not this person could be classified as a scientist. But let me keep reading. Physics, as he understood, it was equivalent to what would now be called natural philosophy, or the study of nature, physis. In this sense, it encompasses not only the modern field of physics, but also biology, chemistry, geology, psychology, and even meteorology. Metaphysics, however, is notably absent from Aristotle's classification. Indeed, he never uses the word, which first appears in the post-humanist catalog of his writings as a name for the works listed after the physics. He does, however, recognize the branch of philosophy now called metaphysics. He calls it first philosophy and defines it as the discipline that studies being as being. Now, if you could just quickly click mathematics, because just like with engineering, there's been a discussion on whether or not mathematics is a field of science, right? And I'm not going to make a position on that matter here, but what I will say is if Britannica is the word of God for some people, let's see what Britannica says about mathematics. Mathematics, the science, the science of structure, order, and relation that has evolved from the elemental practices of counting, measuring, and describing the shapes of objects. It deals with logical reasoning and quantitative calculation, and its development has involved an increasing degree of idealization and abstraction of its subject matter. I just want to be clear. I'm not making an argument here, but if Britannica is the word of God, it's classified as a science under Britannica. But I land my plane there.
I like that. I like that. So now I want to go to my brother Hits. Now, Hits, let me stop sharing the screen. Hits, I'm gonna give you the floor for a second and then you can share your screen. if you want. There's also a portion of this conversation that got a little crazy last night. It was a recap of essentially Chef's show. So we covered the natural philosophy versus science, right? But there was a part of the show last night where I think everybody thought Chef was using ChatGPT. He wasn't. He was using something else. But we get into this, and this goes back to that arbiters of truth thing. I think Sosa, I think Unc was in the chat, right? And Chef was reading something about Ben Carson. And I'm not sure if it was ChatGPT, it might have been Notebook or whatever he uses, but there was a statement made that my ChatGPT, well, basically whatever he was reading on the screen that supported his argument from ChatGPT. And I wanted to do this also for the people so we can get a better understanding of ChatGPT. Because a lot of times when people are making their arguments, if you don't have a grasp of the actual information and you just read ChatGPT, ChatGPT is not, it's a tool. It's not the final say. So if Chef is reading his source from ChatGPT or his answer to his question, right? We know you can pull up sources in ChatGPT, so I'm gonna be careful in my language. If Chef puts a question into his ChatGPT, this is the question, so I went and got hits for it. I'm not answering, I'm just explaining my question. Chef put in about Ben Carson being a scientist into his information vehicle, whatever he used. But then in the chat, it was typed, and I forgot who said it. I don't even know if it was one of them, but it was said, my ChatGPT is more intelligent than yours. And I thought that was one of the stupidest statements I've heard. Now, here's a funny thing. It's a stupid statement that I've said. I've said it in our Discord in chats, or thought in my own mind, well, your ChatGPT is dumb and mine isn't dumb. So I tried to humble out and check myself immediately. And in doing that, I said, I wonder how one person could put the same question in their ChatGPT and then another person put in their ChatGPT a question, read something, you click it both at the same time and y'all read two different things. So I went and got my brother Hits, affectionately known as AI. That's what we call him. He's a CEO of TMI. He's the straw that stirs the drink, pause, however you want to describe it. So I want to let Hits explain a little bit of this topic. Now, we've already covered that you could be a natural philosopher and also a scientist. You can be a naturalist and also a scientist. You can be a neurosurgeon and also a scientist. So that I wanted to cover 4 things. So I just at least wanted to get that out the way. Now we on to the ChatGPT portion before we get into specifically Newton, Carson, and Darwin, and the ChatGPT part. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother Hicks.
Again, peace to the chat. Shout out to everybody watching, everybody on the panel, and in the back. This shouldn't take too long, right? And I think some of y'all divorced Google, and you probably shouldn't have.
Did you say that again?
I think some of y'all divorced Google and y'all just left Google high and dry. And now Google want half, right? Google is coming back, with a vengeance. But no, I think the question you originally asked me was, what's the difference between a free one and a paid one, right?
Yes, similar. Yes.
Like anything, and I'm using online sources. I don't think anybody has to freestyle it or, try to go too in depth with this. You get what you pay for, right? So in this case, what are you paying for? Newer models, right? If you get the paid version, you get newer models, just like a car. Newer model cars are probably safer than older cars. They got more tech in them. They go faster. They're more comfortable, shit like that. But a model is trained already on a certain amount of information. That's why they keep retraining them. So it's like going into a library with no computers, no internet access. The latest information in the library is the newest book in there. That's it. So when you go into that library, that's all you're going to have access to. And we'll talk about the connections later now with the updates. So the newer models obviously have more information. You get better image creation. We'll talk about prompting in a minute, but you just get better stuff. Usage limits, how many prompts you get, how long you're able to use it. People who pay get to use it longer than people who don't pay. If you want to dump a bunch of files into it, you get a larger window. And let me read it right here. Bulk analysis. That's the word I was looking for. You can analyze larger files and more files than someone who doesn't pay. Customization. You can create custom GPTs. I do that all of the time with specific things. If I'm doing something specific, I take the information, put it in Chat GPT, and I make a custom GPT just for that information. Speed, faster. You get better access during peak times, as opposed to someone who doesn't pay. They might get kicked off or it might take longer for them to get an answer. So just like anything, you get what you pay for. Smarter, better, that's all semantics. I don't think that covers it. So that's one of the differences in free and paid. It's a better GPT if you want to use that. So I'm gonna put up another window. Share my screen. Just basics. And anybody can Google this. I used Google. I didn't go to Chat GPT to explain to me how it works. So I'm gonna share another window. There we go. All right. Basically how it works, we're just gonna do a quick refresher course. I think it's almost 2.5 years now since this stuff hit the public, right? And I see people in the chat say they went to school for AI, and that's all fine. But most of us didn't go to school for that, right? So a prompt. Here's an example. Write a short poem about stars. This whole center section here, Chat GPT analyzes context, patterns, and language. It generates a response based on the trained knowledge. That library we was talking about before, that static library. Now, how you write your prompt, or how Chef writes his prompt, even if we write the same prompt, these models work where it starts all over no matter who's writing the prompt. It's a conversation tool. It's trying to conversate with you. It's trying to analyze your input. It's trying to get to where you're trying to go. It's trying to walk with you. And it does it differently every time. They have a hard time explaining how this portion works. Even the people who design this stuff, how it handles inputs. And then you get an output, right? The poem, stars twinkle bright, jewels in the dark night, guiding light. So input, prompt, processing model, depending on the model you have, that's something else we talked about. The better the model, the better context, the better it can read patterns, and the better it can deal with, language. And depending on what response you're looking for, not necessarily the right or wrong response. That's something else that I think we're overlooking. It's not necessarily right or wrong. It's trying to give you a response based on all of those things I said prior, right? And this is just general. So I'm going to share another screen real quick. Hopefully this helps people. How to prompt. And we all know the better prompt we put in for images, the better the image, or more accurate the image is that we're trying to get. Anybody that makes thumbnails knows you put in a bullshit prompt, your image is going to look crazy. The more specific you are, the better, and the more context you're going to have in that image or picture, right? So if you want to prompt better, we don't got to go back to square A 2.5 years ago, how to ask a question, which basically that's what a prompt is. This is going forward. If you want better responses, give the AI a role, act as a senior, I don't know what an FPA manager is, but act in a certain persona, give it some context, some background of maybe why a task, give it clear instruction, and specify output. That's important too, right? We're not even on the internet phase yet. We're just talking about prompting the GPT to give us the best answer we're looking for. So persona, context, clear instruction, specify output. If you want a PDF, if you want it long form, short form, if you want it for a 5-year-old, if you want it for a 50-year-old, right? If you want it for a manager or a floor worker or your friend. But since we're all speeding to try to get an answer to argue with somebody, we skip all of these steps. So for your own personal benefit, just try these things, right? I think I went over the paid part, and I think that's it. So
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
If I'd almost kind of want to do an experiment real quick. I guess I'll be a scientist or something, or that'll be the running joke. And Truist, if you can't hear us, leave and come back. If I put what about my chat GPT, right? So we can kind of quell the yours is intelligent, mine isn't, that kind of thing. And once again, I think one of the issues is not that people are dumb per se, or they don't understand something. I think in a way, it kind of means if you don't really understand like the what you're talking about, and you just put it in the chat GPT and then you just say whatever chat GPT is in it, it gives you back, it's a high chance you're going to be wrong anyway, because you don't even understand, like you can't even, like, it's like your child bringing homework home. The reason why teachers tell parents, check the homework, before you send it out, because you should at a bare minimum be able to understand the work that's being sent home. You went to the hopefully same level of school your child did, or they went to something better. But if your child has, let's say 2 + 2 is 4, I should be able to understand 2 + 2 is 4, so that when my son shows this to me from school, right, I can, before it goes back to that teacher, if it goes back at 6, the teacher should be like, so you don't understand what 2 + 2 is 4, or 2 + 2 is 4? So my point would be like, don't ask, it would be like me asking ChatGPT a question about dark matter. And I have no knowledge of that subject whatsoever, but I hear someone talking about dark matter. I take some fly shit that they said, put it in dark matter, trying to dispute them. And then I'm about to read off some shit on dark matter, but I don't understand dark matter. So I think Chef last night was making the statement, and it's his statement, and he stood on it, that if you don't really understand history, you shouldn't even be having this conversation. Now, I'm not going to go that far, but I'm not going to dispute his argument, dispel his argument. What I'm going to say is, if you're trying to be right, what about being also honest? I don't even know if ChatGPT has the ability to do that. Maybe it could tell you to be right, but you understand what I'm saying? So my short question.
Hold on. I think two things happened over like the last 2.5 years, right? One is because we never got like a disclaimer from Google. The information you get may not be correct. Like we're not used to that. We're used to punching something in Google, looking up the image or the information. It takes us to links. And that's it. The AI models were all based on you possibly getting a wrong answer. Yes, it was in small writing. So that was one thing too. We weren't used to that disclaimer. So we use it like Google, and it's not Google. They have different functions in it now where it can connect to the internet. It can slow down and think more. It's not just trying to hurry up and give you an answer. Like I said, images, web search. And another thing, they didn't understand how some of the mechanisms inside of it even work, how they get these answers and how they're different all the time. So they designed something to give you an output. And another thing, we all had to learn that it's a conversational tool. Like you can talk to it like me and you are talking right now. You don't have to be as technical. An addition was, now if you don't know anything about rocket science, but you got some rocket science PDFs, or you got a rocket science video, and you're trying to learn, you can input them in there and have a conversation about the files and the information that you put in there, instead of it being as rigid as Google is, right? Google just going to give you some links and images. So now they're starting to couple their search engines, which is different than an LLM. It's not or ChatGPT. It's not a search engine. You know, if it is, it's only searching for the next word to put in a sentence. That's the simplest as it was made. It was trying to complete a sentence based on what you asked it to do, using the available data that it had. So our minds, we have to switch over. That's why I said I think people divorced Google and ran right to ChatGPT, because it's going to conversate with you. Like, hey, how do I make Ben Carson not a scientist? Well, this is 8 ways to make Ben Carson not a scientist.
Right.
You know, and that's not necessarily right or wrong in how it's set up to function. Is set up to answer your question in a conversation style. But like I said, with the additions now, the internet and the deep research and updated models, you can get more accurate information. And hold on, I forgot one last thing. Privacy, security. Always be careful what you upload. None of your private information. Be careful what you download. Like I always tell people that. Just don't throw everything in there, especially personal.
Let's do a live experiment, Hits.
Okay.
From the chat, right? We're going to include the chat. Because once again, this is not about being right. This is about we trying to get out some information. Because they've been listening to us for a while, and I'm gonna drop the link shortly to give Truist a chance to talk. Truist, if you can't hear us, leave and come back because you ain't spoken a while. Or just let us know.
I can hear y'all.
Okay. All right. So Truist, matter of fact, you even pull up y'all chat GPTs in the chat.
Yeah.
I want y'all to. We'll pick the best question. Y'all give us a question, a short question, not no long ass question. Somewhat deep. Pause. I'm gonna put the same question in my chat GPT. Hits is gonna put it in his chat GPT, and Truist is gonna put it in his chat GPT, and then what? How he gonna beat you? Say that though if he can't. Logic. I ain't no scientist, but that ain't English. The put it in your chat, all 3 chat GPTs, right? And then I'm gonna read my answer. Y'all gonna read y'all. We're gonna show our answers on the screen. Fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I want to get an idea. So y'all in the chat, we'll give y'all a couple seconds or so to give us a question. And we'll pick a question from the chat, and then we'll put it in our chat GPTs. I want to see how far off these chat GPTs can go, because I like how you said conversational, Hits. I have conversations with my chat GPT, right? I definitely talk about some things, right?
I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. And then when I ask it. Okay, Vaya. So that's the first question. We'll get to about 5 questions, then we'll pick one. Then like when I ask it certain things, I know it knows me, right? That's kind of scary, but it's true. I know it knows me. I know it knows like maybe my biases, right? I think that's one of the things in regards to science when I was kind of fighting on the other side of. While I would call what they were doing science, I know that they hadn't created something for their biases yet. So that's kind of like where you get into modern science, right? Because I was looking for distinctions. Hold on, before we get started.
Good.
But I was looking for distinctions between what you would call ancient science or modern science. And I know that, the biases are very important. That's how you get to modern science. And that's why I don't like the word matured. I think I'll cover that before we get into the link. That's why I don't like when we say matured in the West. I think for me, the way I understand it is that it was refined or formalized. Because when you add matured, you're saying that it wasn't anything until it got to that, right? Or that's when it became an adult. But I think we mature over time. Your 13-year-old child still has remnants of that 6-year-old child, right? And even the 13-year-old child, once they hit puberty or whatever, you could say they've matured, but then when they're 20, there's still remnants of that 13-year-old in there. There's thoughts, there's memories, there's actions. So I think that's the Eurocentric part I'm uncomfortable with. I'm just trying to cover one of the part of the thumbnails real quick. My Eurocentric aspect is I definitely agree with Chef that there is a little bit of racism in the language. It's almost like saying what those savages were doing before it matured in the West was something else. It wasn't this. Now I agree it was something else, right? I agree that it didn't have the controlled experiments, the controlled environment. It didn't have the really a way to check the biases fully, right? So we could say modern science, cool. But to say modern science and then call everything else savagery, essentially, or whatever, the foundations of it, nah, it didn't. Science is constantly maturing. Stu P's made a great point. Then we'll get into the questions. I hope we all realize after we humble out, 1,000 years from now, they're going to look at what we're doing as primitive, whatever. But this is modern science from what y'all telling me. But 1,000 years from now, they're going to look at us like, yeah, I don't think what they're doing qualifies to what we're doing right now. But this is science right now, what we're doing. So if you humble out and kind of look at the bigger picture, you'll kind of get away from the Eurocentrism. I'm not saying lean into Afrocentrism, but to say that Ibn al-Haytham and Darwin and Newton and all of you can't say it. Well, you can say it, it's your opinion, but I just think that's one thing. You're just trying to be technically right and not necessarily honest. Let me see. The Britannica says it matured in the West. Okay, shouts to Britannica.
But too, I think
are there any other questions?
Yeah, there's like
go ahead. I'm listening to you.
There's like 4 questions in there. I biases, and I think someone mentioned in the chat earlier about an algorithm, right? It's what you put into it, it's going to learn, like you said, your biases, and like they said, the algorithm. But still, that only works on the front end. Like that model, say is 3.0. All of us are using the same model if we're all using 3.0. It's not Brass's model. So that learning phase or that algorithm phase or your biases, that's only of the front end of it remembering what you wrote prior. Like that's how you can go back to a conversation that you were having with it a month ago. You know, it saves it and you can continue. You don't have to keep starting over. Like Google didn't work like that. Like you couldn't go back to Google and say, yeah, I was looking up auto parts yesterday, take off from where it didn't work that way. So that's a part of that front end and like the basics of it. But the model that it is, yeah, you can download the actual model and put it on your computer. You know, I don't think most people want to do that, but that's all front end stuff, like learning biases, and that's part of that conversational setting that it has. You know, it's trying to, not trying to, but it keeps, it logs your inputs. So
I'm gonna pick that question. That's something. No, I understand. That's why I brought you up here, because you can explain this. You're way more credible than I am on this. Okay, put that question in your chat GPTs. Exactly how it's written.
Let me see. What is it?
It's from Sheffreen. I'll do another show.
And I think after we do the question, anybody who's like more serious about getting information explained to them in a way that they understand for what they input, I would use custom GPTs that somebody else may have created, or I would use it with Google, right? Go get some sources, and then use ChatGPT, to help you understand it, break it down for you, separate it, contextualize it, whatever. But a lot of us already made custom GPTs. So a lot of people make them. Go in there, use those because they're geared towards hopefully what you're trying to do, like history, math, computation, things like that. So
okay, so I'm gonna pull up my answer. Share the screen. Hold on 1 second. Remember, you always said hide your conversation points to first. Share your screen. Then I'm gonna drop the link after this. I don't know.
put my answer in the back chat.
Okay. Okay. So the question was, is Ben Carson a bench scientist or a clinical scientist, and what's the difference between them? All right, so that's the exact question. Okay, so is Dr. Ben Carson a bench scientist or a clinical scientist? And what's the difference between them? Let me make this screen bigger. Okay. My ChatGPT says Ben Carson is a clinical scientist, not a bench scientist. It says, now let's break this down clean and in a way you can use on your show. So it says a bench scientist is lab-based science. What they do, they work in labs, microscopes, test tubes, cells, DNA, study biology, chemistry, physics at a mechanistic level, run controlled experiments. Example, studying how cancer cells divide. It says they generate knowledge before it ever reaches a patient. Clinical scientists, a patient-based science. What they do is they work directly with patients, apply scientific knowledge in real-world settings, test new surgical techniques, run clinical trials, improve survival rates through practice. They apply and refine science in real human situations. Where Ben Carson fits, Carson is not a bench scientist. He is a clinical scientist and surgeon. Why? He performed complex neurosurgeries like separating conjoined twins. He developed and refined surgical techniques. He applied neuroscience in high-risk, real-world scenarios. That's clinical science. So a bench scientist discovers how things work. A clinical scientist proves what works on other people.
Yeah, it's pretty much what mine said.
Let me hits. Put up your. Hold on. I'm gonna share hits and then I'm gonna share yours. Share your screen.
Hold on.
So Logic pretty much says the same. So Logic. I said Fly. I like Logic, so that's your name from now on. So Logic. Yours, you said mine's pretty much says the same. So when you say yours pretty much says the same, aren't you in the circle that believes that he's not a scientist at all? Debate angle. What are you talking about?
Mine.
Oh, that was the rest of it. That's why I didn't read it. Because the one thing I know about one thing I know about ChatGPT is because I've been doing shows, basically pulling up sources of how Ben Carson is a scientist. The debate angle, that's why I never really add the debate angle, because I know it's going to try to support my position. Now I can ask it clearly for the counter argument of why he is not a scientist, but the question, that's why I just read its initial answer, not the debate angle at the bottom, if that makes sense. So Logic, if you're saying that Logic, if you're saying that he's not a scientist, but your ChatGPT is saying the same thing as mine, that he is a clinical scientist, are you now willing to go against your ChatGPT saying that Ben Carson is a clinical scientist? Because you don't believe he's a scientist at all. If we're being, intellectually honest.
Well, mine's, I'm not going to read all of that, but
yeah, you don't have to.
I'm just saying one setting that mine's is set to down here at the bottom is thinking. So
show me what you mean by that. Thank
you. If you go to the prompt area, right? You should have a little plus sign. See how when I click on the plus?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so that gives you access to its tools, right? Web search, deep research, image. They have apps in here that will take you right to Canva or Photoshop. You could add sources or agent mode, right? Agent mode, you give it a task and you go on about your business and you come back and it should have completed the task. But mine was set to thinking. So
okay, so what does that mean when you say it's set to thinking?
It's
and
not
then I'm gonna drop the link because I think we've covered enough, and I could bring up my sources while people join the panel.
Yeah.
Because we've been about an hour. Let's open up the link.
Thinking takes maybe extra few steps. I don't know exactly, but it will come to a conclusion and then go back and kind of question it, so you don't have to, double check or. So it just takes a little longer. It's quote unquote thinking.
I have the thinking and pro model too. Thinking
go ahead. And then mine gave me sources like automatically. Encyclopedia Britannica, Bench Science. I guess that's the NIH. What is that? National Institute of Health.
Institute of Health. Yeah.
National. Yeah. So
the thinking module will put the sources along with the points it's making.
Yeah.
And like you said, it takes a little longer to
But
give
what
you
does
a
yours
response.
essentially say? Does it say that he isn't a scientist?
No. No.
No, it says he's described as. So in practical terms, bench scientist is lab first, clinical is patient first. Ben Carson primarily is a surgeon clinician with academically recognized medical and surgical contributions. So he fits much closer to clinical scientist than bench scientist.
So I think, you know what, when I was researching Ben Carson, right, Dr. Ben Carson, one of the things it kept saying, and I actually was cool with that, it kept saying he's primarily a neurosurgeon. And in my mind, I'm like, I mean, to be kind of silly, duh. Like, okay, I get that. He's primarily a neurosurgeon. Cool. And I'm pretty sure you could ask about a lot of neurosurgeons, probably the majority of neurosurgeons, and it's going to say he's primarily a neurosurgeon. If you ask, is he a scientist? But the funny thing is, when I was asking about Ben Carson, it would say he's primarily a neurosurgeon, but based on what he's brought to the field, the procedures that he's done, the conjoined twins, the different peer-reviewed articles that he's brought into the game, they had no issue saying that he was also a scientist. So when we get into these arguments, this is what I mean by talking past each other. We don't have to argue so crazily, like, no, he's a surgeon. Okay, we know he's primarily a surgeon. Cool. But if you look at his specific work, not all the neurosurgeons, just him and what he's done, that conjoined twin. Hold on, I could pull it up.
But also for a lot of the conversations, say we have in the Discord, right? Yeah. You can use a custom GPT called consensus, right?
Yes.
Now you can argue with that all day long. It's a general, I guess, agreement, and everybody knows what consensus means.
Yes.
And I would use this one instead of just putting it in a plain GPT. Like if I was going to put it in a standard just chat, I would probably get some sources, tell it to give me some links, etc. But I can use consensus and just get the general consensus of what the information says. So
I got you. Can I present something real quick?
Yes, let me just do this while we on Ben Carson. Is it on Ben Carson?
Yes, it's on Ben Carson.
Okay, go ahead. You can present yours first. The link is in the chat. Reggie joined. Give me 1 second, Reggie. We kind of closing up. I'm assuming that the majority of this part is going to be just kind of people talking, but I did want to show some visuals rather than just constantly just, presenting this, that, and the third. 1 second. All right, where's your information at?
Yeah, so check
It's in the private chat.
First, I posted a PDF in the Discord. If you could pull that up.
The Discord? Pull it in here. I've already got. You can't.
I can't. But all right, I'll read from
No,
first. Go with the back chat. Go with the back chat
and then back chat right now.
Scroll up to where it says nam.edu.
Just give me the time.
It's right above your comment at 2:40 p.m.
Okay, 2:40. What's up, brother Reggie?
I'm enjoying the show. I wanted just to simplify a couple of things on artificial intelligence for the people.
Okay, no. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. No. I was really just saying what's up, so we can finish up this portion and then get into that.
Why'd you put up the comment from that I am King Sosa? Then I'm gonna put you to sleep.
I didn't put any comments.
That was me. I go through the comments and I just click on them. I try not to read them because I'll be there all day.
Yeah, I'm
so
looking
I click
for this
on them. Yeah, that's all.
I don't think it was nothing personal, but I think you cussed his ass out privately for saying that ignorant thing about you. If that I don't know. I'm not picking. If you don't know by now, I have no sides. I have no sides to this at all. 1 second. Private chat. Now I see at 2:41. Are you talking about what you put at 2:41?
No. So the
I don't see anything. I don't see I put anything at 2:40.
Okay, hold on. Let me just repost what I want you to put
just
up.
repost it and then I'll pull it up.
All right. Yeah,
I will recognize this, Reggie, similar to what I said yesterday. I don't know what it is, but whenever you go, it's just gonna be some slander shortly thereafter. If that's your overarching point, then I agree with you right there. Let me see. NAM-EDU?
Correct.
Okay, National Academy of Medicine. That's what you want to pull up?
Yes, sir. This is the organization he is recognized by.
Who is he? Ben Carson?
Dr. Ben Carson. Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Okay. So, National Academy of Medicine. Right? So, again, a lot of this conversation is about whether or not medicine and people that work in the medical fields belong in the category of being a scientist, right? And again, when we do this, it's important to look at the specific individual we're talking about, how they employed their craft, and what organizations they are recognized by for their works. And this is a organization Dr. Ben Carson is recognized by for his works. And let's read a little bit about this organization here. Health for Everyone, Everywhere. The National Academy of Medicine is an independent, nonprofit organization committed to nonpartisan, evidence-based leadership. Our aim is to advance science. Our aim is to advance science, inform policy, and catalyze action to achieve optimal health for all. Our members are the nation's foremost scholars, innovators, and business leaders committed to the scientific excellence and public service. Please click about the NAM.
Okay, 1 second.
Stay at the top. Science in the service of health. Science in the service of health. Founded in 1970 as the Institute of Medicine, the National Academy of Medicine is one of the 3 academies that make up the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine in the United States. The National Academies are private, nonprofit institutions that work outside government to provide objective advice on matters of science, technology, and health. Go down a little bit. What we do, evidence-based leadership. We champion scientific discovery and innovation, drawn on evidence to shape effective policies and foster collective action in pursuit of our vision, health for everyone, everywhere. So he is a part of a medical organization that recognizes him for his work being scientific and evidence-based. Right here, right there. Clear cut. But that's not all. I have a second source in the back. It's from PubMed, NIH.gov. If you could pull that up, please.
Sosa says he's fine with clinical science. He'll olive branch right there. Don't tell us. Yeah, I don't even know why you would be telling us. Tell the people next to you. Because we are already in agreement that he's a clinical scientist.
Yeah.
So that's not. But tell the people that's saying he's not a scientist at all. What am I pulling up? What's the next link?
PubMed dot NIH.
Just add it in. Just add it in.
Oh yeah, I'll put it again. One moment. Put the piece.
Do me a favor before you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's because I got some sources on Ben Carson I want to bring up too. Just touch on pause. Nothing. There's no way I'm going to be able to say that comfortably. Go ahead. What you got?
I just posted it. All right. Now, this is put on the screen because, as you can see, it's accredited to him. Right. Okay. He helped author this. All right. Now, when it comes to these kind of articles running analysis and observation on the works of the people in this field, right? This is something that is a peer-reviewed medical research, right? Indexed by PubMed, including neurosurgical studies on Chiari malformation, syringomyelia, shunt infection risk, and related pediatric neurosurgery outcomes. Publishing research in peer-reviewed scientific journals is one of the clearest markers that someone is functioning as a scientist, especially in biomedical science. Science in the Service of Health, founded in 1970 as the Institute of Medicine. The National Academy of Medicine is one of the three academies that make up the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine in the United States. National academies are private, nonprofit institutions that work outside the government to provide objective advice on matters of science, technology, and health. So bringing those two together, you have him being a member recognized in the NAM. You have him writing this peer-reviewed medical research article indexed by PubMed on NIH.gov. This is him functioning and acting as a scientist. You want to call him a clinical scientist working in the biomedical space? Fine. But he is a scientist. And to try to shoehorn being a scientist into a specific lab coat wearing, sitting at on a bench type of scientist, working in a laboratory, that's not fair. And it's trying to pigeonhole what science is, which has many branches and is a wide thing, to try to pigeonhole it into just being lab coat, bench scientific work. But that's all.
Okay. Link is in the chat. I got some sources I want to share, but I kind of want to move the show forward. Go ahead, Brother Reggie. You wanted to speak a bit about AI, you said? Or give me an idea of what you thought about the show, or some ideas that were passed, or and then get into your...
Yeah, well, I think the show is very broad, capturing various aspects. And so the people that are watching will have to kind of like drill down and separate the components themselves so they can understand it. So you've talked about various topics. And with a key question on AI is why does my ChatGPT differ from your ChatGPT, which I think was a great question to ask. I will approach it a little bit differently because in my last year of my degree in computer science, I took a class by Dr. Shell, who is a world-renowned cryptologist with more than 20 patents. And but he taught the class on AI in that period, which was very new. So that's just my history. So I'm degreed, and I took a course, and in that course, I got an A. Artificial intelligence for everybody else is mimicking uh, the human mind based on inputs that would go into dendrites and nucleuses, and then it would be connected, use connections like the axon, and then to various connections, and then to get an output. Uh, Artificial intelligence is a mathematical model of doing this, right? And so what you have is um, weighted data. Um, Sometimes, well, there's natural language processing, so that's how they convert the inputs into mathematics, right? To understand actually the grammar and the language and what it might be, right? Then it goes, and so there are various hidden aspects of it, and those hidden aspects are sometimes trained data. Why our ChatGPT uh, gets different results is lots of times because of uh, the way the question is asked, sorry, the way the question is asked, and the weights that are put on it, and the knowledge of, like in this case with ChatGPT, the knowledge of the subject. I learned early on in computer science, garbage in is garbage out. You put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. It doesn't really care. If you ask a better question, complex question, it goes into different models to give a different answer. So one of the things I did with this community is in the debate that Ankh had with um, the flat Earth, I introduced AI into the conversation, and so that was the first time anywhere, anywho, anybody in this community used ChatGPT, right? What ChatGPT is basically a conversational uh, uh, interface of artificial intelligence, and so that's where you ask the questions, and then it parses it into uh, neural networks. Neural networks again is based on how the human mind works, right? Um, and and then the AI in the background converts that into mathematical models. So there's weights and balances, and then there is, depending on the model that you use, propagation functions, and then there's learning rules. A lot of times that we use ChatGPT, even if we're on a particular model, um, until you ask a better question, it goes into data sets, it goes into hidden layers, and then in trained models, and then it gives you better output. So if you want to talk about math, well, you got to talk enough about math to get it to that particular area. And it's only to give you an output. Now, it can hallucinate, right? A lot of times, the hallucination is that you're not being very specific. You can lots of times cure that by asking AI to check things or to not do hermeneutics, coping, to give straightforward answers. So I hope that helps to answer the question on why we get different outputs because of weights, garbage in, garbage out. If you're not familiar with the subject and you're just poking around, you haven't given AI enough information to create weights and biases and to propagate it to the correct model, right? And so you know, it's like you go and you ask a question to somebody in a village in a traditional society. Well, they don't have models to be able to answer the question, even if they understand English. So that we can get back to that, but that becomes a problem when people say, "I got this AI. My AI is better than your AI." And it just depends on the model that you're using and who's asking the questions and what type of results are you actually trying to get. So I think that, and it goes into various fields: computer vision, it goes into translations, it goes to grammar, it goes into a number of different types of fields where the data is actually more machine learned. Okay, and lots of times we encounter situations where it's not giving us the answer, and it's simply because it doesn't know enough. And you might have to use a better model that can reach to where you want to go. So that's why the more expensive models uh, do different things like prediction and building, and the simpler models just pretty much just conversate and communicate. So that helps. On the issue of, I think again, Chef did a really, really great job of asking a lot of questions that this show is trying to narrow down to as to uh, science, what is science, right? What is not science? Didn't really get into that part of it, but kind of glossed over it. Um, but science has been with humans for as long as Homo sapiens and before Homo sapiens. Uh, in a sense, it became better with Homo sapiens because of the brain that Homo sapiens had. Um, in There is a separation between science and technology. Technology comes before the science in the archaeological record. A tool, right, shows something that's practical, that's actually needed. The science gives the explanation and how to create better tools. That's what the science does. It has more structured knowledge about what was going on, right? Than somebody just reproducing, for example, a bow or a spear. The science is what can I do? What can I do to make this tool actually better or more effective, right? So tools is the earliest part of technology of Homo sapiens that allowed us to progress, right? The word science, I've talked about before, came about in the 14th century. So that's not where science started. That's where the word was created. Um, and then you move on to where people now have know enough about how knowledge works, and they created what you call the modern scientific method, right? Those are where they're able to look at all of the components. Just because in the earlier sciences all the components weren't used as effectively as modern science, does not make it not science. Modern science is a compound word of science. So science is the root. Modern science is the compound word to describe it. So we what we'll so there's several ways in which we can go about this. We can look at what great scientists have said about science because they are in fact the scientists, right? I agree with your critique on the pseudo killers are trying to narrow down who's a scientist and who's not a scientist. That is just a selection of uh, uh, of what they feel based on who is talking, right? Who is talking about it, and then or I always ask the person can know enough about a subject to think that they're right, but not enough of the subject to know that they're wrong. That's Neil deGrasse Tyson who said that, roughly, right? They don't know enough about the field to know that they're wrong, right? They know enough about the field to think that they're right, but not enough to know that they're wrong. So even in their words, their scientific method that talks about skepticism and talks about falsification, it's obvious to me they don't even know how to falsify their to try to falsify their own data. So they've drawn lines that this must be true based on this, but not enough to know how to falsify it. They don't know enough about ancient science, and I use the word ancient science because there's a lot of compound words. Ancient science, they've used proto-science and pre-science, but we also know there's words like Western science, where they would attack African science, they would never attack Western science in the way that they attack African science, or Egyptian science, or Mesopotamian science, or any of those.
Wait. Stay right there for a second, brother. Reggie. Stay right there.
Yeah.
So just so we're clear, and I don't just to backtrack on one of the things you said, I don't have a critique of the pseudo killers. What they think is what they think. What their opinion is what their opinion is. I'm not trying to baseline my information off of
neither am I.
Them. Yeah, no. Hold on. I want to be clear, because that was actually the beginning of the show, and I was saying it out of respect, and I don't want it to be taken as disrespect. Well, I don't really care how it's taken, but I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I think a lot of times they're not. I was in that Discord. Their goal is not to somehow look for science arguments to just say you're right, you're wrong, you're right, this, that, and the other. I think the way they describe themselves is how they are: advocates, enthusiasts, and not necessarily scientists or experts. And I applaud them, because they will go get experts for conversations, just so we can actually hear what the people that are advanced in the field. So I do not have a critique of them. This ain't about them. It's about the topic and the information.
And I agree. But what I'm just talking about is modes of thought, and I'm using them for example. I don't again, garbage in, garbage out. You could talk to an expert, and you can give an expert garbage, meaning not enough for them to give you a simple answer, right? Or not a complete answer, right? Or have the expert not talk to a person who knows a little bit more. So just them going and getting experts, it has some weight, but to me, it doesn't have that much weight if they're asking the wrong questions, right?
But now, there was a racism piece in what you said I wanted you to flesh out. The link is in the chat. I don't know if y'all want to say this directly to Reggie or directly to something that was brought up, but the chat is a little on fire right now.
Well, it's simple.
No, hold on. I don't want to get stuck on that. The link is in the chat. You're welcome to join the conversation. It's an open source, free conversation.
Let me.
I wanted you to flesh out. Hold on 1 second.
Well, I didn't want to get too far past what Reggie was saying. Then you can go ahead, right? Okay. I'm just going to add to that, right? Like when we mentioned the conversational part of using the AI, right? If garbage in, garbage, and I'm not disagreeing with Reggie. There's also a way to utilize it to help us ask better questions, figure out different methods to learn things. That's one of the major differences between, say, a general search engine and the internet in general, or any browser or something like that. It's the ability, and I'm not saying people should or shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying is it gives you that option to also help you. It's you know, and use the conversational part of it and understand how that works. I think before the show is over, I'm going to put the PDF up for anybody that wants to nerd out on how, you know, the language models are, you know, kind of set up to work. And but yeah, let's not fly past that. That's why they're conversational tools, and they should be used interactively, not just I'm gonna say this, get the output. That's wrong. That's bullshit. You can kind of have this recumbent, you know, back and forth with it, and that's what, to me, I found most helpful. Is how to ask questions or a better way to do it.
I was
Okay,
talking
no,
about,
before y'all go into the AI, hold on. Before, yeah, we're gonna come back around to that. I don't want to miss my point because you said something and the chat heard you say it, but I wanted you to flesh it out just a little bit more. So now, when you're saying that the critiques of, you were saying something about there are less critiques for Western science, or what were you trying to say right there?
yeah.
When you were saying that there's more critiques more for African science, I was trying to follow you, but I didn't
Yeah.
catch that part.
I think what happens is that what happens is whatever the West says, it's just taken for granted or knowledge. Everything that comes from outside of the West, and these are black people and everybody that's trained into America, and we have a Western education. What we do is we marginalize and limit information that and the way in which we look at information from other peoples, because it's really not taught. So so Western science becomes how can I say um, just a way that we kind of like the status. So I'll give you an example. We've had arguments earlier about, science is when you could separate uh, religion, spirituality from rational thought, right? And that's part of what. So anything that has anything religious. So if you see something like a moon, a 10, or you see something like that in whatever they're doing, that gets discredited, right? That gets discredited. But you give a pass on Western science when they start talking about things like the Big Bang, the God particle, right? Uh, the Genesis effect, resurrection in modern science. So you don't see that those things are connected to religion itself. You don't see those things. Or you give hermeneutics, you give excuses for that. You give excuses, you don't see it. So you have a what you call a paradigm uh, block, right? Uh, you don't you can't see the contradiction. You're blinded. It's a paradigm blindness. You can't see it, and that's what goes on. For example, uh, I would have to say to people from Louis Lamb, Thales of 2,600 years ago, he is recognized as the father of science, and so
Can you spell his name for me real quick?
Luilam.
I mean, you said that like that's just an everyday word. I never heard of this person before. Know that name.
Right, because he wrote
Luilam.
Yeah, because he wrote a paper called Science Defined. So if I'm doing research on the history of science, you probably would encounter Louis Lamb, right? But if you're not, again, it's your motto. If you're not doing research on science, you won't encounter him. But I'll give you someone that you know in a second. So Louis Lamb says Thales of 2,600 years ago is recognized as the father of science. But the word science was introduced only in the 14th century. And so it is obvious wrong if science is understood as modern science only, which started with Galileo, which was 400 years ago, right? So, so in that type of mode of thinking, if someone, the Western world, because they have the father of history, the father of science, the father of physics, the father of this, that, the third. That's how Westerners think, right? It's the father. But even with that, when they're talking about the father, they're usually not talking about your father, my father. They're talking it in a God sense, in a religious sense, like Father God, right? That's how Westerners think. You are connected to that paradigm. But then the contradiction is, if Thales is recognized as the father of science by even the Westerners, then science after that, um, so modern science has to incorporate beginnings of modern science with Galileo with Thales. Because of the word was constructed in the 14th century. I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one. Uh, and there are scientists. Scientists are by geography, right? But science itself has no geography. Scientists have geography, but science in itself has no. I mean, scientists are connected to people with geography. Science is the process of structured knowledge, and so it doesn't necessarily have a particular geography. It's part of the human story. Albert Einstein says something. I'll go find Albert Einstein because I think a lot of people know Albert Einstein. So let me see if I can. Okay. Now, Albert Einstein says the development of Western science is based on two great achievements. Now, let's just stop right there. Albert Einstein uses another compound word, Western science. So Albert Einstein is smart enough to know that there are other sciences. So it could be ancient science, it could be Eastern science, it could be a number of different sciences. But if your paradigm, your rules that you're using to understand, to parse language, is not sophisticated, you don't understand that he used Western science. But he's talking about Western science. The development of Western science is based on two great achievements: the invention of a formal logical system, like Euclidean geometry, by the Greek philosopher, and the discovery of the possibility to find out causal relationships of systemic experiments during the Renaissance. What Chef did was a really great job yesterday, because he made the point how Western science became Western science, right? He went back to at least the Library of Alexandria and the whole epic of scrolls being moved to Persia. And then he was brilliant in going into the Islamic period, right? And then when it went to the Islamic period, Europeans were land poor, resource poor, people poor, knowledge poor. They, even their great scientists of earlier, were excluded because of the religiousness of modern Europe. Europe at that time. I'm not going to call it modern Europe. I'm going to call it Europe at the time, where they were extremely, the Catholic Church was controlling knowledge, right? But in that short period of time, the Islamicists, they were able to get the information from the earlier period, the Greeks, and then when they came back to Europe through, for example, the Al-Andalusia, the Moors and stuff like that, they was able to kind of bring back thinking that was lost with the Greeks, that were inherited by Africans, right? And so what happens is that these people start to exclude for Western definitions or Western thinking. They exclude this, and then they dictate what is science and what is not science. But then I have to say, choose that group, all of them. None of them, except for Cedric, is science trained. So then dealing with the person who is science trained, then I have to just deal with the history of science that he's articulating. And so, unless you have any other questions.
No, I want you to stay right there. I got a question for you. So overall, the premise of the show, and hopefully I just gave my part, right? It was really not, it was more of a recap of Chef's show.
Yeah.
In regards to Only Europe Counts and the thumbnail, upper left is, I think when we use the word it matured in the West, I believe someone said Britannica said it matured ED in the West. I just think I think it's maturing over time. And I think, and I don't know why I get racial connotations of something was somehow savage before it was basically the scientific revolution, and now it matured. What I'd like, in my own personal opinion, would be that it refined and formalized in the West.
Yeah, when you say it matured in the West, that would also imply that it was immature up until that point.
Yeah, that it wasn't really anything, and that's just. I mean, I don't know. This is just my opinion.
No,
I'm not trying to be overly.
Explain it. I think I can explain it. See,
Yeah, I want to. Hold on 1 second. You can explain it. Just give me 1 second. Because I want to get into a person that you named and give you a little bit of pushback, or maybe you can show me something that I don't know. So I just want to close my part so we can open up the show and let people present their opinions. Now we could say word salad and semantics, but that's a lot of this whole argument is semantics, or how something is bothering you, and that's where I think Chef comes in with the Eurocentrism of somehow it didn't mature until the scientific revolution because they said so. So if you want to say refined and formalized by adding the controlled environments, the variable isolation, something to address the biases, I agree. It refined and formalized to what we have today. But matured, I think, is a little disrespectful to all of the people, Ibn al-Haytham, all of the people before that time, that you'll give them the credit of saying what they did is the foundation of biology or the foundation of science or pushing certain things forward, but you won't give them the credit as scientists, or some people do. So it's semantics. If you want to say it, so I think there are some people in the chat that have gotten so far as to say that Ben Carson is at a minimum primarily a neurosurgeon. I fully agree. But a clinical scientist based on the surgery of the conjoined twins and how he pushed his field forward with his peer-reviewed information, I think it's safe to say at a bare minimum that neurosurgeon, not all neurosurgeons are clinical scientists, right? So I have no issue with that. Darwin is a naturalist and a scientist, in my opinion. Newton is a natural philosopher. But in my thought, I think that's just because that's just older terminology almost for scientists. I think a lot of his work led to the beginnings of what we now call foundational parts of science. So if you want to say he was a natural philosopher, cool. His work led out to be science. Call him it is what it is. So I think that's the upper left quadrant, natural philosopher. The ChatGPT will close on that, or if anybody wants to hit the link, and then not the same, but all science. So you brought up Louis Lamb.
Yes.
So with Louis Lamb.
Okay, let me respond to this thing because this is going to.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the chat. See, that's what I mean. Y'all make people the arbiters of truth. What they're saying about you in the chat, what they think about what you're saying, that's their opinion. While you're giving your opinion, we all giving opinions. Don't concern yourself with the chat, because if we go down that road, we all gonna be screaming at each other. I hope whoever hits the link, they don't come in disrespectful or nothing like that. I just want to give a clean opinion and address what you're saying. Hopefully people can address what I'm saying. But if you start responding to people cussing you out in the chat, it's just gonna become a shit show. And we don't want to do that, right? It just makes it worse. It's not going to make the conversation better. It's not going to make it clean. I just want to address one thing you said about Louis Lamb. And hopefully you can teach me something about Louis Lamb. Now, and this will go into the ChatGPT conversation. Now, I'm assuming, were you saying that he was a scientist? Or were you not saying he was
he's a Chinese physicist.
So you're right, but the question was, is he a scientist?
Louis Lamb is a Chinese physicist. He's a PhD.
Why do you keep saying physicist if I'm asking you about science? Is there a reason? I don't know why you're doing that. I'm just saying, why are you doing that?
Oh, because I just thought you understood that a PhD in physicist is a scientist.
Okay, I do. I just wanted you to hear. No, I do. I wanted you to say it because this will teach me about ChatGPT. So when I bring up Louis Lamb, in my chat GPT, right?
Yes.
So teach me something. So let me see. In my chat GPT, I asked about Louis Lamb.
Okay,
And
give it more
says,
information. No, see,
no, I am. Wait,
garbage in, garbage.
Reggie, slow down, Reggie. Slow down. I put the garbage in, if that's fine. Then you're going to clean it up and put what you got in there to get a different answer. That's fine. I'm also trying to treat in this ChatGPT part, right? You're being attacked, but not by me right now. I'm trying to get some.
No, I'm not. I'm not responding to chat. I'm responding to you and what I've said.
Okay.
Garbage in, garbage out.
I agree. So
you have the
this is
opportunity.
garbage. I just said, is Louis Lamb a scientist? It says short answer, no. Louis Lamb is not generally classified as a scientist. It says what he is a science writer, communicator, explains scientific ideas, discusses philosophy of science. What he is not known for is original scientific research, major experimental or theoretical contributions, being part of a scientific research field. So they say the clean classification would be scientist produces new knowledge, a science advocate, communicator, explains or promotes it, and that he fits in science communicator or advocate. Now, what should I ask it to get that he is a scientist? Because I'm kind of learning about ChatGPT to kind of bolster my other arguments that have nothing to do with this. I doubt I ever talk about this again. So what would I ask my ChatGPT to get what you're getting that he's a scientist?
Okay, so and so it could be clear that his publication was co-written. So when so I didn't pull up his bio, so that might have been my error. However, the articles that he did write, that he did co-write, is science defined, or yeah, the article is science defined, and science matters, or science matters, a science matter. So let me just pull up his bio.
No, but I know. But what question should I ask to get that he's a scientist? That question still remains.
Okay, so like I said earlier, right? I might have obviously, if that is true, then I misread his bio, right? And he co-wrote a book with a scientist, right? So I may have been wrong that he's a scientist. But the point, so the point there is, in fact, that if I just have to search his bio now to see how that was conflated, how I conflated it, not that it was conflated. But
so this would be correct.
It may be correct.
Okay. All right.
It may be correct, but he is someone that is known for an Asian for critiquing Western science.
Okay. I don't have no problem. I don't have no challenge with that at all. Y'all hit the link for y'all questions. I think there was a couple questions. Or put them in the chat. I'll read them.
Okay. So the critique goes back to there are other countries besides the West that engage in science, right? And they are advocates of science. They are advocates of science, and they talk about science in their own countries. Is that not as valid as how Westerners think about science?
I think it's valid. Can you show me what you're talking about? And I'm here. I'm not busy until about 7 o'clock. So however long this show goes, it goes. I'm basically just talking to you. I don't really care who watches. So if you got sources and you want to put them up, that's cool. I actually like that angle that you're making, rather than saying maybe some people are exhibiting racism. Maybe show what people outside of Western, outside of the West, say about the people that they're not calling
so
scientists.
how did you spell? How did you because when something like that happens, I have to come back and check. I have to come back.
LUI. It said I was probably referring to Louis Lamb, often written as Louis Lamb in conversations.
No. So it's Luilam. He's a professor of physics and
No, they pulled
astronomy.
him up. That's what I was trying to tell you. They pulled him up as Louis Lamb. I misspelled it as Lewis. They
Okay,
pulled
so it
up
wasn't
Louis
me
Lamb.
because that means I can go back and say I was right. Louis
Yeah,
Lamb.
because no, it's cool. It says even science writers like Louis Lamb describe science as a way of understanding reality, not just getting answers. So they pulled up the guy
So
that you're
I
talking
wasn't
about.
wrong. I wasn't wrong. I wasn't
I don't
wrong.
know
That
what you're
was just
saying.
your search. That was your search. Louis Lamb is a PhD, like I said, and he's a professor of physics and astronomy. He is also Asian, and he wrote the critique on Western science. He's a prominent physicist and professor emeritus of San Jose University, right? Like
It
one of the
says,
people.
real quick, it says there's no widely recognized major science scholar named Louis Lamb in the philosophy of science or mainstream scientific literature space. It says Louis L. Is Louis Lamb's middle name L?
No.
It says, okay. So
I
then I
never
need you
said
to
that.
put in your, okay. No, I'm asking, that was a question, not a statement. But it does say Louis Lamb has a PhD in physics.
Okay.
So I don't know. Can you do me a favor? Pull up your ChatGPT.
I'm gonna share. I'm just gonna pull. I'm just gonna pull.
Somebody just hit the link.
I'm gonna share up the screen. I'm gonna share the screen.
Okay.
Give me a second. But this who Louis Lamb is not as relevant as what I'm talking about. Is generally what I'm talking about. It's really not. So that's why I'm kind of surprised, right? So I think I put it in a link. It's not important. The point is that he critiqued Western science. So do you put it in chat? Did you share my screen?
No. What do you want me to put in there? Because it did say that he the guy that I pulled up that you're saying is incorrect. It did say that he critiqued Western science.
Yeah. It
says he was a science writer. So what do you want me to ask? What do you want me to ask ChatGPT?
No, you don't have to ask anything. Just share my screen.
Oh, share your screen. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything.
Gotcha.
I took a quote from him, and that's it. So the point.
How have I forgotten how to do this? It's 1 second. Because I could share my screen. Can't you share yours?
You just click right there.
Okay, no, go ahead, Hits. He does all that stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah. Louis Lamb is a prominent physicist and professor emeritus at San Jose State University, right? And that's just who he is, physics innovation. So I made the point that he wrote, he critiqued in a book, Science Matters.
Reggie, does your cell phone ring like a house phone?
Yes.
Or is that a house phone?
No, it's my cell phone. Right?
Oh, okay.
So all I just need to do was just show that he's a PhD, prominent physicist. That's all I had to do. Stop sharing. All right. That's all I had to do. And so the point of it is that people critique Western science. That's the other critique, because Western science is not the end all, right? And then there are Western scientists that critique Western science, right? And most of my quotes, when I was doing the research for rebuttal, or Europeans, but there are also Europeans talking about science and for example, Asian science, right? So like Joseph Needham, he wrote the Grand Titulation Science and Society in the East and the West. He wrote Chinese civilization achieved a higher level of science and technology than the West for much of the pre-modern period. Now, he chose to use that because he put in a period called pre-modern. So there's a pre-modern period, but that does not mean that they were not doing science. Right? So I have a number of quotes from scientists that talk about science. George Sarton, astronomy is the most ancient of all the sciences, right? Um, Peter Harrison, modern science has its roots in the scientific ideas of the pre-modern age. I think that people who challenge this, their comprehension is wrong because they mix up a age period with what is happening in that period. So there's an age called the pre-modern page, a pre-modern age, um, and then what they do is they make everything else pre-modern, just because of their just lack of education. A lot of people, and that's what I find in this community. They're just not trained. They think they're trained because they're smart, but they're not smart enough to know when they're wrong. And then, for example, not going specifically into the chat, is it the people that are calling me dumb and can't talk? And I don't know. What my whole thing is that my professors understood what I was saying when they graded me, but they didn't have professors that graded them. You see the problem? The problem is I had professors that graded me, and they didn't have professors that graded them. But so my professors obviously could understand what I was saying, my oral arguments, and understand actually my writing for me to get graded, for me to get a degree in science, right? And so, but our community is more, how can I say? They claim to be separate from the people like Dr. York and
That's
Polite
about
and
the fifth time Dr. York done come up here.
yes, they claim to be. They claim to be, but the funny thing is, none of those people were my teachers, but they were their teachers. And so they're more like their own teachers than I am, because my teachers, believe it or not, I have a mixed of black teachers.
Who did Dr. York teach? What do you mean by that?
Oh, he what do you mean? Who his groups?
No, you said the people that you're talking to, Dr. York taught. Who did Dr. York teach?
Dr. York taught people who were largely outside of academia, grassroots people in his various types of teaching.
Right, but who are you talking to that was taught by him? You talking about the guy from Atlanta, right? The pyramid guy.
Yeah, he wasn't originally from
he's a sick dude.
He's from.
But
New
who did
York.
he teach that you're who? Because how are you in circles with niggas that was learned by him?
Oh, we are in. We're in that.
I'm not around anybody that was taught by Dr. York.
No one. Aren't?
No, I'm not. I can see. I can say no, I'm not. We can keep going back and forth, but nobody.
The conscious community is.
Yeah, but I'm not. Who in my Discord was taught by Dr. York?
They can raise their hand.
I'm around people. I'm only around people in my Discord. So who have I been around that's taught by Dr. York?
A number of people. I don't want to. They can raise their hands.
You already opened the Pandora's box. So, and it ain't offensive. I'm not going to be offended, but I'd like to know so I can get them away from me. So who was taught by Dr. York in my Discord?
Not in your Discord, in the.
Okay, so now who are okay, cool. That's clean. Now who are we around? Like, I don't really listen.
Well, you don't want me first. You don't.
No,
want
I
me
didn't say I didn't. No. I said if it's the truth, the truth can't be offensive. So if it's true, then if you believe, hold on, if you in a community where you telling the truth or you telling your truth and it's offensive, then you probably should leave the community. Just tell. So who in this community that I am around was around that was taught.
I don't know.
That's a key word. I didn't even know dude was a teacher. Who
Oh,
taught who?
Dr. York taught tens of thousands of people. Dr. York is Dr. York in his various personalities. He taught tens of thousands of people.
I'm assuming you protected something.
I'm not protecting anything. Maybe you can go into the chat.
Why am I going into the chat?
Maybe because maybe I
Dr. York.
Yeah,
Dr. York.
Imam Issa, Dr. York, right? Those people were never my teachers, ever. I never attended a class.
Are you saying Unc? Because everybody in the chat is saying Unc. Is that who you're referring to?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
Yeah, this is a different show.
Come on, don't say something and hide your hand, bro. Come on.
This is a different show.
Why do I have to be your savior? I'm talking to the point about how I was taught and who is criticizing me or who might be criticizing me. I just brought up that I was taught largely by academics, right? And even Black folks that were academics, right? I wasn't taught by
Chef, hit the link, because Chef was saying he taught Unc and the pseudo killers. Hit the link. Hit the link.
But my whole point of it is you can't now. My general point is, again, not naming any names.
I don't know. You just said that out the blue. It just threw me off. I apologize. We don't even got to go no further down that lane. Right. And by the way, for the people that keep saying, me and Reggie have had conversations about the Bambaataa conversations. We've done shows on it at this point. He's made his stance clear on Bambaataa, and I've accepted what his stance was on Bambaataa.
Well, you're in the chat. You're in the chat, but I can't go in the chat.
Yeah, it's my show.
But
I gotta be in the chat.
Go into the chat. I can't
wait, Reggie. I have to go in the chat. It's actually my job. You're actually just presenting your information. I gotta recognize the chat of our show. Don't try to listen. I don't know what fallacy that is that you just used. It was slick as hell. It was. I mean, that was slick. You almost got me. But no, it's actually my job to monitor the chat.
Okay. You had been moderating it for a while because you hadn't looked at it.
Yeah, no, because you threw me off, bro. You cannot say, Reggie. Y'all do this all the time, and y'all do it in Discord too. Y'all will say something. Y'all will say something like super profound. Like you'll tell somebody that you figured out the Big Bang, and then just go on talking about something else. I'd be like, no, stop. Well, explain that part. So yeah, if it's messy or something like that, we ain't got to do it. We ain't got to go there.
Let me just get back to
get back to it. We ain't got to go there
because all they want to do is slander. They want to, if they're bringing up Bambaataa, that's somebody I knew at 14 years old. But it's
don't go there. Me and you had that conversation. We don't got to go there. I had that conversation. Your answer was sufficient for me, and we moved past it.
Yeah,
but go back to what you were saying about the what's.
Okay, so in preparing to have a academic conversation, right? Because I don't need to call anybody any names, dumb, sleeping, or anything like that. All I have to just say is I can present my information. You present your information. I've always asked those people. I've always asked them, provide me with a source that says that science did not exist before modern science. I've asked them, they have come up short. They tried to use Plitkin, and I just been busy. I haven't got around to deal with Plitkin. Plitkin's in EBSCO. He's in EBSCO. Okay, so am I. I'm in EBSCO too, right? So that don't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. If Plitkin is in EBSCO, Plitkin wrote this. Plitkin is one of the people that they have used to talk about, to separate science from modern science. And because Plitkin wrote he taught a course on the science of Harry Potter, right? Which they brought, which I had to tell them that that Plitkin, because they didn't tell the public, but he did the science of Harry Potter, talking about, well, Harry Potter was magic, it wasn't science. But in that conversation with Plitkin talked about, he started pretty much with Western science. He left it at Western science with the Greeks, but anything prior to that, he didn't call this science. But Plitkin wrote a paper that was uncited, and that becomes problematic and not useful. But that's who they use. So I know the other person that they haven't brought up, who wrote a paper on science starts with the West and talks about proto-science and pre-science. But in their literature review, they didn't tell you who that person is, but I know who the person is. So I'm waiting. Now I'm waiting. I'm waiting to finally to bring up the person, right, who actually has a peer-reviewed paper talking about it. I'll give you the name of the paper: Natural Philosophy.
Yeah, what's the name of the paper?
Oh, Natural Philosophy or Science. And isn't that what you want? Shouldn't that answer the question?
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, that would have been helpful before the show.
Yeah, well, you didn't ask me.
That would have been helpful.
But the paper is called Natural Philosophy or Science in Pre-Modern, so now they use a time period, epistemic regimes, right? So the case of astrology of Albert the Great and Galileo, right? And he wrote that in a publication called The Theory of Science. So Hendricks is the person that they would best use. And I would say to any of them, please use Hendricks, right? Because they didn't bring up Hendricks because their literature review is trash, right? So now I just think, since their literature review is trash, and to me, their ability to get out of a institution is problematic. So if you're going to say things about me in the chat, right, then that's fine. Now I know. So now we can't go back because you're talking to the chat and I'm reading the chat. So we can never go back, right? So, but Hendricks that was a sideways comment. Hendricks,
I got you. I'm just not a
Hendricks wrote, people could be so angry, and I don't talk, I'm talking about the subject, but they could be so angry, but that's fine. Hendricks is the person that they would hinge on because he has a peer-reviewed paper on natural philosophy or science. And the problem with Hendricks is that, yes, it was peer-reviewed, but it was so low quality that most scholars might mention him, but did not bother to write a rebuttal to it. And I could talk more about Hendricks, but Hendricks is the best paper to.
You gonna put it in the Discord for me?
No, I just gave you the name.
Okay, I'll find it.
Right, it's just Hendricks SC, Natural Philosophy.
No. Yes, I mean, I'll go get it.
Yeah.
So I'll go get it, bro.
So that would be the best peer-reviewed paper that would make their point. However, it's not well cited and it's really not used. And it has and so it's he made the point, and I got a surprise for them. So please finally go and bring up Hendricks to the people that's talking about me, right? Who's going to sleep? Wake up. If I put you to sleep, nigga,
wake your ass up.
Nigga.
I like that.
Wake up, nigga.
I like that.
Go read the paper. Finally go read the paper, and then use the paper, nigga.
Don't bring, right? Hey, you got a lot. Listen, you don't, at this point, I get it, bro.
Messed up my day. Why? Because I just come on the show to just
nah, you're not innocent. No, you're not gonna do that to me. See, I'm impartial.
No, I'm not
You
talking about
messed up,
you.
though. Wait, you messed up your day by that
No,
comment you made. That was you. That wasn't me.
no,
I
it
was
was
trying to
no.
make sure it wasn't in my Discord. Then I had to read the chat to get clarity of what you was talking about. Now, this going to be a whole nother thing that I swear it does not need to reach my doorstep. But if that's actually your truth, and I'm saying it because you said it.
I didn't
If
say
your
what did I
truth,
say? I didn't
no,
name no
you
names.
just said that I'm around. Hold on. So you just so we clear. And I appreciate your contribution. You know that. If you say the words to me, and Truist, I don't know if you're still there, but you can chime in at any point. But Truist, let me see if you agree with me. You're impartial also. If you say the words to me, Reggie,
Yes.
that I'm around people and dealing with people that are taught. You didn't say around, been around. I'm aware of that part. But you said taught by Dr. York. If you say that to me, my first
Tens of
initial
thousands of
question,
people.
hold on, Reggie. Before you go defending, let me finish. I wanted to make sure it wasn't in my Discord.
Let me check.
But then you said it is in your Discord.
Wait, let me
So
check.
I said, who? And then you said it's in the chat. And then I kind of looking at the chat, listening to you, I got it. That's a whole nother subject. But I didn't mess up your day. You offered that information. I didn't ask you anything about York.
No.
I ain't asked you. I don't even know where York came from in this conversation. We talking about scientists.
No. The whole point of it is I was telling you I was taught by academics.
Right.
I wasn't taught by some of the people that were taught. Maybe initially, certainly changed, but anybody that was taught by Dr. York, there's certain there's certain attributes that they carry, right, from him, right? Dr. York was very good at what he did, right? He was very good at handling information and dismissing other information to push his information, right? Made it a business. Dr. York used to make in the streets of New York, anywhere between 50 to certainly on a Friday and Saturday, $100,000 a day in the streets of New York selling.
Doing what?
Selling pamphlets.
What time period is this? Shouts to Mansa. He just joined. Give me a second, Mansa.
This is the 1980s. He used to when
100,000 a day selling what? Selling pamphlets?
Yeah, because you had to for
what
his
was in them pamphlets.
Whatever Dr. York taught, and almost all of the pages where there were pictures looked like Dr. York. Dr. York was everybody: Moses, Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, the Bilal. He was everybody. That all the pictures in his pamphlets of all the prophets of all the people looked like Dr. York, right? So, but it also had information. It had cherry-picked information. But a lot of people learned out of education from tens of thousands of people, and a lot of those people tore up those books, put them in the garbage, right, and moved on, right. But I didn't learn from Dr. York at all, right. So I'm not saying that those people did not change. Some people, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that Dr. York had, he was responsible for educating tens of thousands of people and bringing them to some information. But it wasn't academic.
Okay. Shouts to you, Mansa.
So I think I did what I think that I wanted to talk about the subject. I talked about AI. And I talked about a new person that you should research who actually wrote a peer-reviewed paper saying that it wasn't modern science, that they didn't bring up, right? That the other group did not bring up. And then the other part of course, I brought up the
Was
fact
the gentleman that wrote that a scientist himself?
we just went over that.
I'm sorry, I've been in and out. I didn't hear. What was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
name
he
of the
did, he
person?
did, he did. I got it already. I'm gonna post in the Discord.
Got you.
Well,
I just know based off of the name, just based off of the
the
name.
person who wrote the article, was he
Uh-huh.
a scientist? Was he a scientist himself? I do not think so. I think he's a sorry. So good question.
The reason I said that is because my antennas went up based off of the name, because it's not a either or thing. It's not like you have to choose which is which. That was the whole first hour of the show, me explaining that someone can be both. So just based off of the title, my antennas is already up.
Right. So Hendrix, I didn't do his bio, but I think that he's kind of he's definitely a PhD. But remember, people in PhD, some people do history, so he might have a PhD and he might do enough to do the history of science. But I don't know if Hendrix himself is a scientist. I apologize. I thought you was talking about Louis Lamb.
Yeah, Louis Lamb.
Right.
No, I was talking about the article, but thank you. I'll look into it. I'll look at it if you posted it.
Okay. Go ahead, man. So what's going on? I think this is the first time I probably met you. I've seen your name a few times, but I think it's probably the first time I've actually met you. What's that hat? Let me see that hat before you start talking.
What you talking about?
What's that? The Washington General? I mean, what is that? What is y'all baseball team?
The Nationals.
The Nationals. Yeah, shouts to y'all. Shouts to y'all.
Yeah, I'm in DC.
What's going on, brother?
I just saw. I just came up. I just saw Reggie, brother Reggie. Hey, what's up going, brother Reggie? It's Hercules. How you doing? How you guys doing? I just popped up, man. I'm not
Peace,
gonna stay long.
Hercules. I just muted my mic. Peace.
Okay.
I'm about to roll, about to get off work, but I just popped up, man. I saw you guys was talking about you was talking about the science stuff and information, and I just wanted to chime in real quick because
where you at? You're in the class. Is that a classroom?
Yeah.
Oh, shouts to you. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Just wanted to chime in real quick because I don't know, I'm not sure, but I think that I'm the one who kind of like started this whole black science thing. I don't know if somebody was talking about that before I did it on Sonetta.
So it's your fault. so all this hubbub and shows, and now we done crossed thresholds. It's because it's good to know that it's you. Okay, cool. All right, so you've taken responsibility. Where do you land at? So then let me ask you a couple questions before you get started.
Yeah.
Would you say? Well, what was your stance? Go ahead. I'll sit back and listen to you. What was your stance? How do you, in your mind, how does it start? Or where are we messing this up?
What do you mean? What my stance about the science?
Like, yeah, you said you started it. What was the conversation were you saying that somebody wasn't a scientist, was a scientist, or this qualified as science and this didn't?
No.
Is that how it started?
No. I was doing a presentation on black science, on black mathematical science.
Okay.
And so that's how I got started because everybody was coming up was like, science is just science. And once I proved and showed that African people had their own way of doing science before the Europeans came, and it's just a simple Google search, do Africans do science different than the Westerners? And it's just yes, it's just a different approach. And so then it was a whole back and forth thing, especially with the pseudo killers about whether science is just science or are they just doing science in Africa and you saying it's African science. Is no, because the brothers and sisters on the continent today, they've been discussing this for the past 20 years. And they've always been talking about that their approach to doing science is completely different in the West. So wait. So it's that's where it came from. And for me, it sparked my interest because years ago I heard Amos Wilson say it. Mm-hmm. In a lecture, and he was like, he was saying that black science is different than Western science. You know what I'm saying? You still doing white science if you're taking math. And I'm like, I was confused. Like, what? That makes no sense. But it was until years later, you know what I'm saying, after reading and just studying, you just realize, like, oh, dang, you know, there is a difference. There's a different approach. And so I brought that up, and, you know, it sparked from there. And so now it's understood that, you know, the African science is different than Western science. So now you hear the goalposts being moved by the pseudo killers. They don't want to say, you know, it's African science no more. They want to say, well, they ain't doing modern science. You know, they wasn't doing modern science. And nobody never said that. We know they wasn't doing modern science back then. I mean, come on. So nobody never said that. So now it's a big, you know, issue now. So it's not, but and then again, some of the things they say is still wrong. So because they wanted to call it proto-science, they start calling it proto-science. And the thing with that is that you only have a handful. There are a handful of like historians and archaeologists, Egyptologists, who would say that, you know, the people back in ancient Egypt was doing proto-science. There's only a handful of them, but the majority of them would say they just doing science. It was science from their point of view, their worldview, and that's the point. You know what I'm saying? They had a method, they did research and all that stuff. So they was doing science from their point of view, not from the Western point of view. So that's how it got started and stuff.
I think with the whole proto and pre thing, as Reggie said, modern science is a compound word. I think what we could kind of try to come to a middle ground on is if they want to call something pre or proto, just say it's pre or proto modern science. Don't say it's pre or proto science, because it is science. It's science. But if you want to call it pre or proto modern science, because you want to acknowledge it laid the foundations to the rigid method of modern science we see today, I think that is more fair. But when you are calling it proto or pre-science, even if you're not trying to do it, it almost sounds like you're implying it's not science. And many of them have just straight up said they don't think it was science. And that's the disconnect here.
Facts, yeah. But yeah, and that's the thing, that you don't think that it's science. Just because you don't think that's science don't mean they wasn't doing science, especially when they tell you they had a method of doing their research. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with that.
Okay. What do you teach, brother, if you don't mind me saying?
Math.
Nice. Very nice. So now I gotta ask you a question. Ben Carson, primarily a surgeon, but also a scientist?
I don't know, because we usually don't look at doctors as scientists,
right?
Medical doctors as scientists, but I think those who do research, you would consider like a scientist, like I don't know, like medical doctors who are publishing papers, you know, they doing clinical.
He fits that criteria.
Then I would call him a scientist. If he's publishing papers and he's doing research over, you know what I'm saying, over the work that he's doing.
Adding procedures to the field, advancing this field.
That's his scientific, that's his field. And he's a scientist.
Now I'm gonna ask you to kind of go the other way. One of the things I think in these conversations, I'm gonna add a word hits like to use, but I'm gonna break it down to 2 words. I think some of the issue would be that people would fall under broad science terms versus strict modern science terms. Would you agree with that? Meaning there is a scientific revolution. Can't get around that. Modern science definitely refined and formalized whatever it was before it. The variable isolation, the controlled environments, something to address the biases before the revolution, right? So it did add things to the field, and modern science would be a refining and a formalization. So you can't deny that there's a modern science. So if there is a draw a line or make a distinction, that's where I make my distinction. When they begin to refine and formalize, add isolations, things to address biases, I have no issue saying that is where modern science goes forward. Or you could say modern science. Anything before that, I just don't say is not science. I don't say that. I don't, that's my line, right? What is your line? And then I ask the people on the panel, and then if we have nothing else from the chat, we can get out of here. what would you draw the line at as far as what would be ancient science and the modern science we have today?
The tech. I would say the technology, the development of the modern technology, where the electricity comes in, the plastic, the artificialness technology that we use today. That's the difference between what the ancients did and what the Westerns did. So what I was shown, what I was able to show was that the level of because we think that just because you're scientifically advanced or mathematically advanced, that you will develop this technology naturally. So what I wanted to show was that wasn't true for African people, especially for people of Kemet, because they were mathematically advanced and they had a lot of information, knowledge of the world, of the universe, and of materials, but yet they still chose not to go in that direction because their whole main thing was you have to maintain this balance with the earth and with your environment. And if you want to, with Western science, they exploit the environment. I want to say, I think it was Descartes or maybe I can't think. I think Hobbes, who said that you want to force nature up against the wall and pull her skirt up and expose her for everything she got for the benefit of man. So that was their view. That they want to exploit nature. So the African view wasn't about exploiting nature and destroying the environment. You know what I'm saying? So that's a completely different, you go into different directions and different approaches. And you see that, and we see it today. We see the results of, the Western approach of not caring about the environment. It's only afterwards. Then they're like, oh, well, maybe now we got to, you should have did it from the start. But that's the I see it as one of the main differences. The split is with that the modern the coming out with the artificial technology.
Right. Do you recognize Newton and Darwin as scientists?
I mean, they were scientists, and I guess in their field they were scientists.
Let me get your when you get a chance. I don't know if you can in the back chat. Put your information. I'd like to sit down and talk with you further if you don't mind another time. I see your name in chats all the time. I didn't know that you started all of this madness that is going on. The science is now somehow Black Egypt. It was crazy. But Truist, I'm Reggie. I don't know if y'all done. The link is open. I give Reggie and Massa, thank you for coming up. But put your information in the chat. I'm gonna give you some information for our Discord, and let's have a conversation. Let's set up a show of some kind.
I just did it.
Go ahead.
About to get out of here too, y'all.
All right, brother. Have a good
I'm gonna stay on the chat and listen. Hey, Hercules, it just seems that information gets personal when you critique the information. It gets personal. We as a people have to be able at some point to deal with the information and not personal attacks, right? On the information. The question is science modern? Does science exist in itself without being modern science, right? Or is modern science the only way that we could think about science? If we do that, then it always points to the West. It always points to fathers and hierarchy. It points away from the ancient people who, even if they start talking about theories and stuff like that, they got their information from other people, right? From previous cultures. And it always becomes something in our, I'm gonna say, genes, right? That we have to get out. Either you deal with the subject academically, if you can, or you don't deal with the subject at all. But if you decide to deal with a subject, then do know that there are people who will deal with the subject academically, right? And not on this YouTube entertainment BS. So the subjects are always the subject. If you're not mature enough to deal with the subject academically, don't address the damn subject. And
Hmm.
I'll listen to the rest of the chat.
Okay, go ahead, Truist. Close out, brother. I mean, it's not, I think we said the majority. Anything else would be kind of overkill. And this is my stance. I'm not going to. This is not a tennis match to where I'm doing this to for people to make. I mean, you have a right. You should try and do whatever you want. But I'm not doing this to kind of further it. I just wanted to get my stance, TMI stance, our Discord's stance out. I applaud Chef for kind of jumping out there, but I'm not gonna let my brother go out there alone and just be, whatever. We've all through conversations. It's funny that me and Chef were actually on completely opposite sides of this conversation. And over time, we gradually met somewhere in the middle. I think we disagree on some minor things, right? I don't know if he fully agrees with my line, but I think we've compromised enough to where I understand exactly what he's saying, and I do agree on that part. Not I don't need 100%, but I'm not gonna make the 3-4% where we disagree more important than the 96, 97% where we do agree. And I think that's where a lot of these arguments get real visceral and real crazy. So shouts to Chef for kind of doing this, but this is not a response to no group. I started the show off in peace. I started the show off in respect. I'm going to end the show off in peace. I'm going to end my part of the show off in respect. I have no issues with no groups. This is not directed or aimed at anybody. My information is for the people, and it's a recap to Chef's show last night. Go ahead, Truist.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment. Everything I said wasn't directed at a certain individual or group of individuals. It's just really counter information. That's all. I just was providing counter information to what I would call misinformation that I was hearing. And I think the whole idea that, again, someone being a naturalist or a natural philosopher somehow is a way for you to kind of uh, wiggle them out of being a scientist or practicing science. I think that just comes from a lack of understanding what a natural philosopher or a naturalist is. Um, some of the same arguments that I've heard in this community are that, Charles Darwin's theory of evolution by way of natural selection is a scientific theory. And I've heard people fight to death to prove that to be true, because it is true. It is a scientific theory. But the individual that drafted the scientific theory experimented, tested, and came to his conclusions, right, following the scientific method to draft this scientific theory that is still held up as a scientific theory to this day that people
Fire.
defend with their life. Now, because it fits an argument, that individual is not a scientist. He's just simply a naturalist. I can't sit by and hear that kind of stuff. I have to provide counter information because I feel like I'm being played. But that's all I got to say. Nothing I said was out of disrespect. We're just keeping it on the information.
I wanted to show. I can't really show this. Hopefully I can show this in the Discord. Shouts to IBM. You're a lot more right than you are wrong. IBM. I actually appreciate a lot of the stuff that you bring up. Can y'all see this sister right here? Fetty posted her in the Discord. Um, let me read her credentials. This is 1 second. This is so that's Fetty at 256. He is showing. Okay, so he's showing her. So it's a comparison of roles. I don't know if y'all can still see it, but I can't make this larger because I don't have a link. Her name is Bianca Jones Marlin. She has a She is a primary field is a okay. Let me be respectful. Bianca Jones Marlin, PhD. Primary field, academic neuroscientist type of work, basic research, generation of new knowledge, daily activity, managing a lab, designing experiments. Her goal is to understand neural mechanisms. I believe he compared her to Ben Carson. Ben Carson is primary field pediatric neurosurgeon, a type of work, clinical practice, application of knowledge, daily activity. His would be surgery and treating patients. So his goal would be to treat neurological disorders and injuries. And his statement, I don't want to get into the satanic part, but I believe that his stance is that Ben Carson is not I don't want to show too much of our Discord because some of this shit can get inflammatory. But I'll land there. I believe Fetty's stance is that we're kind of all talking past each other in a way, and that Ben Carson wouldn't be a scientist by her standards per se. That by her standards she would be a scientist and he wouldn't. I would agree that he's primarily a neurosurgeon, and I don't think all neurosurgeons are scientists, but I think he definitely falls underneath primarily a neurosurgeon and a clinical scientist. I'm gonna close out. Thank you, Reggie, for your contribution. I always am appreciative of that. And I guess I'll close on the same sentiment. I guess it was taken as a shot based on the vitriol, but we all are giving our opinions. Some of us are giving our opinions sourced. Some of us are just giving opinions and our thoughts. But no one group, no one people, not me, not Chef, not Corey, not anybody. We are not the arbiters of it. If you disagree with us, then we disagree, right? If you disagree with whoever you're actually arguing against, maybe switch your model a little bit. Don't argue against people. Just discuss the ideas, discuss the information, and move on from there. Probably be a little easier, right? It'd probably be a little bit better of a conversation, because once it gets personal, or once it gets to, once it gets into whatever we would call slander, then it gets into a place where now once the anger gets high, the reasoning gets low, and sometimes in these conversations it gets real low, right? It gets real low. Let me see. Yeah, you're trying. I haven't talked about anything like that publicly on purpose, and I'm not gonna start today. So I'm gonna close out on my brother DQ Hampton, his new EP. Shouts to him. Go out there and support. The link is in the chat, or you can Google it. I believe I got it from Bandcamp. And this is his track. It's a little flip on, not a little flip. It's a major flip on Keith Sweat, and I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna close out on that. Y'all have a good evening, and I'm gonna go on the Discord, and we could finish our conversations.
And I'm gonna tell you something. This pimping that I got in my blood, it came from a family tree. My granddaddy was a pimp. My great-great-great-granddaddy was a pimp. I'm talking about pimping, been since pimping, since been pimping, since been pimping.
Hey. Let's go. Saturday morning now, I'm yawning, brushing my teeth. Cooking me something, pouring coffee, rolling the leaf. Half sheaf, rising the gram, make it complete. Yeah, I fell asleep. My slim, thick and petite. Tight freak that I met at the dispensary last week. No, I beat. Hands all in the ass cheek. Can't find a chick in this world I can't see. When they hide, I provide the dick in the back seat. When I glide 35, a cuss in the back heat. Falling on these niggas, they checking the stash sheets. I'm in Harlem with my niggas, I'm jamming some Max B. Headed back to Texas, I'm getting it tax free. Actually, chick wanna massage and relax me. Mind, soul, and wrist in that chi. All in one in the pot, throw some shrooms in that tea. And tell me how you feel, baby. Gonna keep it real, baby. Ooh. I passed the blunt underhanded. More with the tabletop, the shit that I took for granted. No for supplanting this pimping, all in the hippocampus. No, they gon' spell the branches, soon as I leave the campus. Shout out to my sister, yeah, she cheerleading for the Panthers. Invite me to all the parties, these bitches be throwing panties. Sharing red 11s on my feet, I was coming handy. The blunt is like a pinata, you know that it's still candy. Carter get brought